All right, welcome back. And today we switched around. We're gonna continue Sayano type daydream. But tomorrow we'll be doing a full-blown rewrite. All right, let's get started for today's daydream. I can't pronounce shit. All right, let's go.
この切り身になっていないお魚は一体どうすればいいんですか?
That draws a little trickle out of me. Well, we'll clean them up and slice them into sashimi. I'm good at that. She opens her eyes wide.
先生料理するんですね。
I'm from Minami Boso over in Chiba. I used to fish a lot when I was younger. Caught a fair amount of horse mackerel, aji, about this size actually.
そうだったんですね。
You fine with raw fish? She nods.
苦手なものはありません。
That's good. I'll be cooking today.
はい、
A pleasant smile plays on her face.
お願いします。
After that, we stop by the supermarket and buy a few more ingredients.
見てていいですか? お魚をさばくところ。
Be my guest.
やった。
I like how she said yatta. It's so muted. It's like I don't know, maybe I'm so used to yatta being said like as a very in a very excited tone, but she said yatta like yatta. Just like that. I don't know, maybe I don't hear it that often. And I scale the fish and cut out the tails and heads. Then slice them open, take out the guts, wash them in the sink.
慣れてる。
Rin watches me intently.
本当に普段料理してないんですか?
Not at all. And not that good.
でも、私そんな風にできない。魚をさばいたことなんてないですよ。
I don't think anyone gives much thought to preparing food like this when living alone. I haven't done this in years. Usually only for special occasions.
今日が特別なんですか?
She casts her gaze up at me, waiting for an answer. I stumble upon my words for a moment. It's a thank you for cooking for us every day. It's been a long time since anyone cooked for me, or vice versa. I'd say that's special enough.
いつ以来ですか?
I think for a moment. Well, the best part of 20 years? Maybe?
じゃあ、相手は奥さんだ。
Yeah. Ex-wife. She stares at me. I look up from the chopping board at her.
この話、したくないですか?
I turned back to the fish and began removing the bones. That was back when we were newlyweds. I think it was a wedding anniversary. I taught her how to prepare fish. Her eyes opened slightly in surprise.
初めて楽しそうな話を聞いた。
I can believe that. Aji's perfect for practicing. It's moderately challenging, cheap, and you can get it pretty much anywhere. Not to mention, delicious. She nods along as I speak.
奥さんはさばけるようになったんですか?
I don't know about that. She did seem to get the hang of it that day. She didn't really cook much, but she was surprisingly good at it. I think she was pretty mad when I gave her final product 80 points. She told me that scoring every single thing was annoying. Rin smiles as she listens. But besides that one time, I never ate fish she prepared.
せっかく教えてあげたのに?
It's a hassle, even if she was a housewife. I don't think many take the time to prepare food from scratch like that these days. I don't know, man. Look at Rin. I finish up separating the fish's flesh from the bones. So, this is how you fillet the fish. You're left with two sides and the bones. Easy so far, right? And now, you pull out the bones one by one. That's why I bought some tweezers. They're in that bag.
ね
Hmm? Rin looks up at me. Small smile on her
え
face.
私にも教えて
This? She nods. You planning on preparing fish on your own?
いいじゃないですか教えてください
Well, you know what she's
代わって
well, you know what she well, you know what she's doing. I mean, I can imagine she already planned on doing that, but hearing the story about his wife, ex-wife, and about like preparing fish, I can imagine she's motivated. Sure.
この状態の魚触るの初めて
Really? Is it that hard? I don't know. Okay, I don't know, man. I prepared raw fish before, so yeah, whatever. Anyway, Rin tells me as she puts the fish on the chopping board. First, you take the scales off. Then this hard part here that extends from the tail.
はい
Try scraping it with the tip of the knife without using too much force.
こう
Yeah. Do the same for the other side. Start with the tail and work your way down. Yeah. That's it. What's so funny?
先生っぽいですね口調が
Well, that's kind of my gig right now.
そうでしたね
I see a lot more from that podium than you might think. Like you looking out the window and not paying attention to your lessons.
知ってましたよ先生たちの多くは昔のことだからすっかり忘れているんだろうけど
She looks up at me again. She gazes into my eyes, a suggestive expression spreading across her face. What? All right. Okay.
先生の視線って先生たちが思っている以上によく見えてますよ
I see.
先生は私のことをよく見てくれてますね他の生徒にバレてないといいけど
Hmm.
それでこの後は
Oh, right. Now, you cut off the head. Make sure you don't take too much meat off with it. And then...
うん
Ren is surprisingly ham-fisted with her attempt. She knows how to use a knife, but preparing fish is obviously something new for her. Compared to my cuts, she only manages to get about 70% of the flesh off the fish. Well, it's your first time. It'll improve with practice.
もっとうまくできると思ってた先生が簡単そうにやるから
I probably prepared more than 100 of these in my time. Even that total oak will get good if he repeats something often enough.
何点ですか
What?
点数をつけるなら
I knew it. She wanted to know the score. She wanted to get good. You did well for your first time. Really. I still remember mine. It was such a...
100点満点なら
Alright, she's doing it. She really wants to be compared. She really wants to be compared. I sigh. I'd say around 70, I suppose. Oh no, it's over for her. Oh no. That's good enough passing grade in class.
奥さんには負けたんだ
No need to turn it into a competition. You don't lose to my wife in any respect. Whoa! What other respect are we talking about here, guys?
でも一つ負けたこれも負けたくないの先生の中で一番でいたいの全部
Man, she's really going for it. She is really going for it. Okay. Her expression is dead serious, so I struggle to say anything. She looks down at the fish with sad eyes. The criteria for the score isn't complicated. It's how much food you can get out of the fish. It just means you got 70% out of the meat out of it. You'll get better with practice. I promise. You don't need to beat yourself up over it.
また買ってきます
I nod. Sure. Fish is good for you. Helps with blood pressure.
そんなのはどうでもいいんです
You know what's the eyes for her? She knows what's the prize here. She has her eyes on the prize. She snaps back at me. She lets out a small sigh. Wait, I think the line earlier was supposed to be like Sensei's, but for some reason it said Rin's. Okay. I find her pure determination so adorable that I can't help but smile. I only realize I'm doing it when she glares up at me and pouts in displeasure. I'll slice it up so we can eat. Go ahead and wave it at the table. She nods and dejectedly walks to the table. I serve her the fish I prepared and place the fish she prepared in front of myself. I turn the third fish into a mameru style mashed fish medley. Nameru. Preparing fish is the only cooking related skill I have. I can't really make much else. I sliced in silken tofu and sprinkled it with some condiments we bought to make a cold tofu dish. I also made miso soup by pouring hot water onto instant stock and prepared some pickled vegetables on a small dish. Most of the work simply involved taking the ingredients out of their packaging. I carefully set the plates on the table. Don't start with that. All I did was put the stuff onto the plates. We got Japan's efficient food processing and distribution networks to thank for that. It's amazing how you can always get fresh tofu. Rin says, letting out a small giggle. Don't you know, this guy's very proud of Japan. Well, it's just that. The miso soup and the tofu are freeze dry then. Not at all. I'm happy you're comfortable enough to banter. Your bite is pretty fitting for someone your age. I shake my head emphatically. It's not a bad thing to act your age. When you get over 40, you start acting old without even trying to. If you wish your youth away, you'll regret it later down the road. Right, it's easy to forget. What is she trying to invoke here, guys? Put like that, I really am going to hell. Alright, I like that line. He is going to hell. Wait, I forgot my screenshot utility app. Alright, here we go. Remind me never to cross you. Rin laughs out loud and looks back at me. Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah. Rin reaches out for the minced fish with her chopsticks. I think anyone can make it tasty. Like kare. It's pretty hard to mess up. I'm not being modest. The fish and soybeans are just that good. She puts a hand to her mouth as she stifles a chuckle. Here we go again. Can I stop opening my big mouth? We're eating tofu made from soybeans. They have soy sauce, also made from them. The miso, where the soup base comes from soybeans. So there's a bean curd in the soup. Her eyes grow round with surprise. Come on, Rin. Use her head a little. Back when I was a penniless student, I used to always order the same stuff from the cafeteria's menu. 50 yen tofu miso soup, 60 yen cold tofu, 80 yen natto, and 150 yen white rice for a total of 340 yen. And when you sprinkle some soy sauce on it, basically everything is very A very silent state of affairs back then. I guess he was a. No, never mind. I was this close to saying some shit. I'm not gonna say that right now.
先生って面白いですね。
I stare at her, dumbfounded. I can't believe she laughed at that. Funny? Are you sure? She nods.
面白いっていうか変。褒めてますよ。念のため。
She smiles as our eyes meet, then continues eating her meal as if nothing happened. I follow her example and keep eating as well. The aji is really damn good. And it's so cheap. I'm so surprised how cheap it was. After we both finish our meal and taking the dishes to the sink, I boil some water in the electric kettle and make 2 cups of coffee. Rin holds the steaming mug in both hands and drinks a little sip as she cools it off by blowing on it.
戻るんですか？
Yeah. I want to read through the diaries. I'll report back when I'm finished with them.
何か新しいことは書いてありましたか？
I think back on what's written in the diaries. Shuho revised this stuff so people took to making fun of him and calling him the Vinter. You know that, right? With her eyes still upturned to me, she nods. His novel sold well and changed the binding with each new edition, but the only binding he never changed was the one on his debut work. She nods again.
それも知っています。
I found the reason behind that in one of his diaries.
理由？
When he looked out over that view for the first time, he desperately wanted to be someone, and he got everything he wished for back then. The money, the fame,
そうなんでしょうね。
but he regretted it.
悔いていた？
And on a response, it seems like that place was an important turning point in his life. That's why it's the only thing he never changed.
そうだったんですか。あの場所って確か県内でしたよね。
Sakuragicho.
桜木町。
I got curious about the scenery while reading his diary. I'm thinking of going there tomorrow.
桜木町にですか？
And not again. Not that I think I'll have some big revelation there or anything.
そうですか。
Rin turns her gaze back to her mug. I watch her for a moment before finishing up the last of my coffee. Oh, he. When I'm done, I get up and walk to the entrance to put my shoes on.
先生。
She calls out to me from behind. I turn back to her.
明日私も一緒に行っていいですか？
To Sakuragicho? Rin nods firmly. I stare at her in silence for a moment. Her eyes wander nervously.
どうですか？迷惑じゃなければ。
Okay, just to be on the safe side, let's meet there. Her tense expression unravels into one of relief.
はい。
Are you sure you want to waste your weekend on this though?
どうせ何の予定もありません。家にいても本を読んでいるだけだし。
Alright. Rin smiles and gives me a little
今
bow.
日はありがとうございました。また挑戦してみます。
Jesus Christ. He's really trying to outdo his ex-wife from 20 years ago, so you know. What exam?
三枚おろし。
Oh, yeah.
少なくとも80点を超えられるように。
She makes me chuckle again. You really hate losing, don't you?
だから言ったでしょ。強情なんですよ。私。
She says, her eyes glittering with an alluring shine.
ごちそうさまでした。
Kochirakoso. Have a good night. Oyasumi nasai. I turn my back on her and leave the room. I walk the road between Ren's place and Shuo's studio. As I walk, my mind is full of thoughts about tomorrow. Come to think of it, all we ever done is have dinner together. We've never been out of anywhere just for fun. I feel like my ethical boundaries are thinning out more and more by the day. At first, I didn't even want to talk to her without a good reason. But then, we read books together at the library. And as things developed, she gave me the key to her dad's studio. And then we started having dinner at her place daily. Now, we're going out together on the weekend. Is this really okay? I'm gonna let you guys answer that. We already know the answer to that, but you know, let's keep going in the story. The warm smile she left me with at the front door is still fresh in my memory. Lately, I've come to see a lot of different sides to her. Sometimes she seems so mature that it makes my heart skip a beat, but she also has her childish moments. Then the thought hits me. Perhaps she's getting involved with me in an attempt to regain lost time with her deceased father. Rin herself may be seeing me under his shadow. The thought makes me a little sad, but a part of me also feels relief that the dangerous nature of our relationship may fade, given enough time. Big We're just going out tomorrow. No big deal. Don't overthink it. In the odd chance that we bump into someone we know, I shouldn't set off any alarm bells if we say we just happened to meet. Maybe it'll be different with Watanabe. But I don't think most people will jump to the conclusion that we're romantically involved just from seeing us walking together. I don't know, man. We're talking about two people who are usually loners. They're not friendly by nature. They don't hang out with anyone. Seeing those two people hang out is kind of sus, you know? Even the fishmonger thought we were parent and child at first. I think about what to wear tomorrow as I make my way back to the condominium complex. I'm halfway there now. Not too far in physical distance. But Rin and Shuo's hearts are separated by an insurmountable chasm. And there's nothing that can fill such a gap. Rin will never have a weekend outing with her dad. What should I do for her? What can I even do? Become a replacement for her dad? I failed to depict Shuho once. I had to admit that. Shuho was self-centered, vindictive, and had an impulsive nature that bordered on childish. He seemed to reject the idea of being understood by others. It's exactly like Rin said. It's true that Shuho was never the appealing, idealistic depiction that I thought of. The person that lived in that studio was very different. With that knowledge, what I can do is come into contact with Shuo's real writing in Rin's stead and tell her about it. I can serve as the bridge connecting the bottomless rift between parent and child. That's probably the best I can do. And I guess I can keep teaching her how to fillet fish. Next morning, I go to the public bathhouse early and head to Sakuragucho station before our appointed time. When I arrive at the ticketing gate extra early, I must send Rin a message. I'm here already. I'll be waiting by the ticket gate. Immediately after sending the message, Rin walks over to me from the other side of the ticket gate wearing a beautiful white sundress. Oh my god, she thought about being early as well. Maybe. Still not even the time we agreed. I just got here. You can tell she's excited. She smiles at me. We can walk to the observation deck. Let's get going. We walk through the city together. Oh. Not really. Is it my first time though? Oh no, she's asking that question. You know she's gonna be doing something that... For a moment, I'm unsure on how to answer. Oh no. This is... But she answers the question for me. When I turn to her, she has that sly smile on her face. What's so funny? She pulls a sullen expression, nodding grudgingly. Looks like she's mimicking me now. Back during my school student days. So long, I barely remember. So blurry that I can't recall much else besides the fact that it
意
happened.
外にミーハーな奥さん？
Oh yeah, here we go. Was your wife pretty basic? She's now trashing her now. Was she basic? After thinking for a moment, I
デ
nod.
ートで桜木町。度がつくほどベタですもんね。
Well, we're headed that way, so I don't think we can really judge.
確かに。これも一応デートですもんね。
Oh no, 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 no. She's already thinking, she's thinking of this as a date. She's inserting thoughts in his mind. I instinctively turn to her. She's walking alongside me, her expression unruffled.
綺麗な街ですね。空が開けてて。
Yeah, it feels really refreshing, doesn't it? Rin shades her eyes with her hand as she looks up at the tower that rises in front of the station.
これの一番上ですか。
Yeah,
へえ。
there's a bookstore and gift stores in there. Well, there's a bit of everything, I'd say. These huge complexes are nice if you want to go shopping. You can even grab a bite. Back when this was open to the public, its selling factor was being the fastest elevator in the world. You can get up to the 69th floor or ground floor in 40 seconds flat.
へえ。
There's a tinge of awe in her voice.
詳しいんですね。先生。
I look down at her and see her directing that usual suggestive smile at me. It just wasn't the news when it opened, that's all.
へえ。そうですか。
I clear my throat and keep on walking. Let's go.
はい。ぜひ。確かに早かった。
Told you.
展望台って来るの初めてです。
There should be a cafe around. Wanna take a break?
はい。
Wait. We buy iced tea and coffee at the bar inside the deck and sit on the sofa facing the windows. The weather's so nice you can even see Tokyo metropolitan area in the distance. That's Tokyo over there. Rin nods slowly as she gazes at the expansive scenery spreading before us. I do the same, and we sit in silence for a moment. We look out over countless roofs and apartment buildings. Each of them houses an individual life, perhaps more. Even at my ripe, mature age, it's hard to wrap my head around. It's impossible to look at the world from my own narrow viewpoint and grasp even a fragment of the life, the energy of all the people that make this world turn. I think Shua felt stressed because of that too. The one big difference, however, when I'm facing all of this vastness as just another face in the crowd, Shua lived in a whole lot of different worlds, whether he wanted to or not. Did Shuho ever come here after becoming a writer? Or was bringing Rin here to look at the scenery together? Like I'm doing now, not an option for him. As I gaze at the breathtaking scenery that became the monument to Shua's regret, the iced tea on the table in front of us crackles as it warms, froth as the condensation form on the surface of the glass.
先生って。
Rin begins to speak, but she trails off. I turn to her and regard her profile as she looks out the window.
この景色を見て何を感じます？
Son, I keep staring at her. Her attention stays on the scenery, but she turns to meet my gaze after a while. What do I feel?
こうやって広い街を一望して。
Rin turns to look back at the Tokyo-Yokohama cityscape in the distance.
自分の知らない世界がどこまでも広がっているのを見たときに。
Rin squints slightly, looking for the words.
感じるのは自分は一人じゃないっていう安心感ですか？それとも結局自分は一人なんだっていう 疎外感どっちですか？
I let out a dry, short laugh. Rin turns to me again. You really need to ask? I think you know the answer to that. Rin has the same sad smile on her face as I do.
疎外感
I nod. I didn't think I could get along with someone that saw the scenery and felt secure. A little laugh escapes her lips, and then she takes a sip of her tea.
すっごくよくわかる。
She gazes at the scenery, a faint smile on her face.
父はどっちだったんでしょうね。
I definitely think he'll be on the alienated side.
生き方が違う人とはこれくらい距離が離れてると楽なんですけどね。
I turn to Rin, still looking out the window, down at that vast cityscape. Is she talking about Shuo there? As I think, Rin turns back to me.
ここから学校の方を眺めてるだけで出席もらえればいいのに。
She says as a silly smile on her face. I don't think the teachers would approve of that. Her smile turns a little sour.
知ってますよ。冗談通じないですね、先生って。
She exclaims cheerfully and stretches her arms out.
奥さんとの思い出の地に連れてきてくれてありがとうございます。
I like how that's what she's thinking. He's not even thinking about that at all, man. Not at all. Is that a joke too?
いいえ。ねえ、先生一つ嘘ついたでしょ、今日。
Huh?
奥さんと来た時のこと、もうおぼろげだから思い出とも呼べないって。エレベーターの速さと展望台のこのいかにもカップル向けなソファー席のこと覚えてるのに、本当はよく覚えてるんでしょ、奥さんと来た時のこと。
Yeah. It was a figure of speech. Sorry.
こういうのを言葉のあやとは言わない。ただの嘘でしょ。
Suddenly, I felt an emotionless chill in her tone, and I'm at a loss. While I tried to squeeze out a response, she laughs out loud.
冗談です。ごめんなさい。そんな難しい顔しないでください。
She says before taking the last sip of her iced tea.
ありがとうございます。
I can't help but wonder what she's thanking me for.
先生が教えてくれなかったらここに来ることはなかったし、父に特別な場所があることすら知らなかった。来てよかったです。
She murmurs with her eyes downcast. I nod in response.
この後どうしましょうか。詳しいでしょ。
There's a small shopping mall if we go down to the 5th floor. You can grab a bite to eat there.
じゃあ昔は一番早かったエレベーターで降りましょう。
It sounds kind of sad when you put it that way. We go down and share a light meal on the bustling shopping floor. Is there anything you'll want to see?
見たいもの？
There are clothes shops or more general stuff. There's a lot to see, I suppose.
ですね。でも別に欲しいものはないけど、眺めるだけでいいですよ。上から順に。
Okay. The mall extends up to 5 floors, each of them full of all kinds of shops. Most of them you can take a peek inside from the outside. We slowly stroll along and look into the shops as we go. A newly opened big bookstore chain on the 2nd floor catches Rin's attention. I follow her inside.
この絵、なんか好きなんですよね。
Rin heads straight to the little section of the children's picture books. Apparently, this is what caught her interest from the outside. There's a funny Daruma doll with the face of a bird on the cover. Oh, isn't that the bird illustration you sent me? No. Is it a Daruma doll?
イラスト？送りましたっけ？
I fish out my phone out of my pocket and show her the screen of our conversation. She sent it that one day she worked part-time. This one here.
先生、スタンプのことをイラストって呼んでるの？
He doesn't know. Emojis. Generation gap. Here we go. I repeat the alien word like a student attending language school. Then realize it must be some kind of new slang.
それスタンプって言うんです。覚えておいて損はないですよ。
Stamp. We just call it stickers, but whatever, man. She says, her face adorned with that little smug grin I've come to know so well. And then she giggles. Stamp, huh? Consider it memorized.
はい、スタンプです。
And I responds, which one do you want?
そうですね。せっかくだから。
Rin picks up a little sticker set of the weird Darama bird stamp. Stamp? That's a stamp, right?
見ればわかるじゃないですか。シールですよ。何疑心暗鬼になってるんですか？
Alright, you know what? I don't know Japanese. Let's go. Whatever, man. Rin looks soothingly amused by my feigned ignorance. Then her attention shifts to the t-shirt with a print of the funny Darama bird on it. She looks at it with the intensity only a kid wishing for something really hard could have. There is an air of innocence and earnest passion about her. Let me get that for you. As thanks for teaching me about Stampu. Sorry, it's emoji. Okay, I see why my brain kind of fucked up there. I grabbed a set of stickers from her hand and one of the folded t-shirts from the pile. She looks up at me in surprise. And to thank you for inviting me out today. There's nothing fancy, but it'll do. Is small the right size for the shirt? Rin smiles.
ありがとうございます。男の人からのプレゼント初めてです。
Damn, man, not even her dad. What the fuck? Are you sure you want that first gift to come from me? And something this simple on top of that?
もちろん買ってください、先生。
We go to the register together and pay for the 2 items. I see the area extending from the cash register to the exit have been cordoned off for an autograph session with some novelists. There aren't that many people waiting for it. Oh, it'll be funny if his wife is around the area. Oh, yeah, that could totally happen. Oh, shit. The bookstore clerk is announcing that a talk show will begin shortly as part of the event. Rin stares at the clerk. Do you know them?
いえ、
Her smile looks a little bit bashful.
私も試食販売した時、誰も立ち止まってくれなかったから、なんか親近感が。
Makes sense. I turned to look at the smaller event venue too. It's a small setup consisting of a table and 2 chairs. And then, someone walking towards the table enters my field of vision. Oh man, you know who's that gonna be. You know who that is gonna be. Oh shit! Oh shit! I wonder if she saw them though. This is like an oh shit moment. Yeah, this is an oh shit. Rin lets out a small breath. At the same time, I realize that it's my ex-wife. A man who seems to be the author walks in front of her and sits down at the table. My ex-wife sits next to him. As we stand there, the safety that's shown, is that how you pronounce it? Behind us is closed. We're left having to pass through the almost empty venue. The man gives his pen name and bows his head. And the contrast in the impression he gives off, his speech and mannerisms make him seem rather young. As I vaguely stare at him and think how he looks about the same age as Watanabe, Joko picks up the microphone.
集英社の有島です。今作の担当編集をさせていただきました。今日は佐伯先生の最新作が書き上がるまでの過程を。
She greets the small crowd with amazing eloquence as she scans the. Oh my god! As she scans the people in attendance with a slightly uninterested look until her gaze settles on me. First comes astonishment, and then her expression settles into one of visceral disgust. Both the spectators notice and look back at me. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, man! Ah, shit. Ah, shit, man. I feel it. I'm so in that I feel that. I feel that shit. But it only takes her a second to erase all that trace of emotion from her expression. She smooths it over with a small apology, and then talks, and the talk continues. But then, I feel something warm touch my arm. Oh no! Her ex-wife could probably see that this young girl's holding this guy's, her ex-husband's arm or some shit. Rin intertwines her left arm with my right. Oh man! Instinctively, my head snaps back to her. She's staring straight at oh damn! Oh my god! There's a faint smile on her face. Oh shit! Damn, man! Alright, let's go. Shoko's gaze falls onto us again. She clearly tenses up. Her face wraps and twitches into a murderous scowl. Her gaze is set right onto our entwined arms. It's obvious to the people in attendance that something's going on. I shake off Rin's arm with all my force and rush out as fast as my legs will carry me. I'm almost running. I just want to get away from that place.
Sensei.
Damn, son. Damn, son. That was a damn son moment. I can hear Rin calling out to me from behind, but I don't stop.
Sensei. 待ってください.
How is a guy who is is in his 40s, smokes a lot, is not tired? I mean, I expect at least Rin to like catch up to him, but he's able to run away. She keeps calling out for me to stop. I clench my teeth and keep walking. I feel so unbearably wretched. Can't contain this anger. No matter how much I clench my teeth, or how white my knuckles get from balling my fists, it doesn't go away.
Sensei, 私.
Don't follow me! Wait, let me take this seriously, man. I'm liking this in a very, I'm really amused right now. I like this drama shit, but like, let me take this seriously. Don't follow me! Rin jolts back and freezes in place when I yell. The people passing along Sakuragucho Street throws glances at us as they go. Rin looks at me, obviously terrified. The people around us keep their distance, but they don't keep their curious gazes from us. I put a hand to my forehead. The blood rushes to my head and I get dizzy. Feeling myself stagger, I let out a small breath between the clenched teeth. I move over to the side of the road and slump down with my back against the wall. Why? Why did you do that? What were you thinking? Why in the world would you do that? Are you trying to make my life hell? I hear as she approaches with timid steps.
Sensei. ごめんなさい。私。
Don't drag me into your childish rivalry.
ごめんなさい、先生。許してください。だってあれ、奥さんでしょ。前に写真見せてくれた。
For me, it's when the ex-wife had a murderous intent, a murderous look on her face. The moment she saw someone next to him, and then she was giving a smug, man. She had a smug. I don't want anything to do with Shoko. This is a problem between me and my ex-wife. You didn't have to come stomping into it because of your ego. Wait. I like how how his getup is no different from his work getup.
はいでも二人の問題に入れないのがどうしても寂しくて。
And how is that my problem? You too. How miserable must you make me to be satisfied? You and your damn dad. When I shout those words out, all sound around us disappears. He said the number one thing that, like, man, bro, man, this shit's hard, man. This shit's hard. I can't help but pause because it's so painful, man. It's like tears silently roll down her cheeks and fall to her feet. Stunned, I simply stare at her as she cries. She blinks a lot of times, but it doesn't help. The patter of her tears on the ground is audible. In the absolute silence, she hangs her head down and all emotions drain from her face. Her face might as well have turned into a piece of marble. Such is the lack of emotion. She quietly stands up and leaves. Her unfeeling steps grow distant. Still stunned, I stare at the space she preoccupied just a moment ago. The burning anger consumed everything inside of me, leaving nothing. Emptiness spreads through my chest, like water seeping into the sinking ship. The only thing that compels me to stand up and leave that place is the possibility of seeing Shoko again. I get up and head to Sakurugicho station, and everything is a blur after that. I feel like I had a bag when I left this morning. Who gives a damn? There's nothing left for me to cling onto. There's no need to be attached to my belongings. I destroyed it all again. I completely broke something inside of Ren. Of course it came back here. And nothing left but this place. Oh, I don't know, man. Exhausted, I said that she was less. As I finished reading the notebooks piled up on the left, I stacked them on the right. It's strange. Why is Shuo's writing penetrating me so deeply? I'm sure I have nothing left inside of me. Just like water dripping into sand, his writing silently soaks into me. There are only 6 notebooks left. My journey with Shuho will be over soon. I see. This is probably my final duty. When I'm in this room, sitting at this desk, I feel like our thoughts become one. When the door closes, we're the only ones here. Now, this is the only place where I can be myself. I open Shuho's diary. I follow the decline of Shuho's mental state. I just keep writing out of habit. I keep writing garbage prose, deceiving one and all. I stop thinking completely. I just watch as my fingers keep on hitting the keyboard keys regardless of what I think. I'm just a chunk of meat rolling down a hill on inertia alone. I can't find any meaning to living a life like this. Of course I can't. Such a thing never existed to begin with. I stink. Even I can tell. I've spent 5, 6, 7 days without leaving this chair. I can smell my own foul stench. The intense odor. My brain. Odor forces me to confront my own existence. I hate it. I hate it so much. I can't take it anymore. No more. I need it to end. Unable to believe my eyes, I read the sentence over and over again. What state of mind drove him to suicide in the end? I kept reading through these diaries until today in hopes of finding out. For the first time, his thoughts rejecting life are exactly the same ones I'm having right now. The same state of mind I had when I pushed Rin away. That adorably naive and misguided jealousy. His firm insistence and her pure heartbroken pain. All I can do was stand like a miserable doll as I faced the person I wanted to see least and the most. I was so miserable and useless and weak, and after acting in such a shameful manner, I'm sitting here like nothing happened. I hate myself for that. You're right, Shuho. The resemblance up until now wasn't just a coincidence. What he wrote here are my thoughts put to paper. Shuho. I raised my face from the diary. When resolved to die, was he in the same state of my mind as I am right now? It looks like a clear, flowing signpost directed at me. The eternal sluggish despair at being alive. In his words, the unconscious loss of something, and the gradual desire for that which cannot be recovered. That state no one can understand. The self-righteousness of knowing you're the only one. At the end of the meandering road, Shuho was in the same state of mind. We arrive at the same conclusion. Our lives couldn't be more different. We're completely dissociated from each other. I'm a sad middle-aged nobody, and he was one of the biggest writers Japan has ever produced. Our lives aren't and never were of the same nature. But perhaps we can be the same in depth. I couldn't be what I wanted to be. Not once have I been satisfied with where I am in life. He was the icon I've been longing for. I finally found a way to be exactly like him. To die the same way. I can put myself in the same environment and in the same mental state. And by doing so, in the moment of death, I can finally become one with my idol. That sounds like a sweeter choice to me than living this dead and boring life every day for 30 more years. I look up from the notebook and stare into the void. The void in the studio where Shuho once lived. I need to finish it. I need to be jaded like him and fight against the life that I hate and become one with Shuho. For once, we'll be running side by side, the merged like lanes of traffic down the same cliff. I feel the corners of my mouth rise. Perhaps I lived my awful life in preparation for this. I wouldn't have gone here if it wasn't for all that despair, all that frustration piling up year on year. I laugh. I laugh out loud within the desolate room. A new week has begun. I spent the whole weekend in this room. I didn't go to the public bath. I haven't changed my clothes. I stopped reading the diaries, covered in the same raw, beastly stench that Shuho spoke about. I kept on lashing away at all around me to create the same circumstances. I take my phone out to check the screen. Monday morning, just past 8 a.m. It's almost time for morning homeroom. I spent 2 full days in this room. I haven't contacted anyone, and naturally Rin didn't send any messages after that outburst. I'm left with nothing but my thoughts in this room. I go from the study to the living room and out to the balcony. I smoke a cig the first time in 2 days. My phone rings while I'm smoking. It's Watanabe. I stare at the phone as it rings on the palm of my hand. It's Monday. The staff meeting has definitely started already. I'm still filled with fear and apprehension, but if I lose to this fear here, nothing will change. The life I always felt the need to protect is worth nothing. At least it's not worth anything to me. I can admit it now, but I need to show how worthless it is, to both the world and myself. The phone stops ringing in my hand. Laughter bubbles up in me. How anticlimactic. This is the first time I've ever been absent from work. So this is how it feels. Fear of this weak and fleeting feeling is what had kept me chained to that job all these years. My phone rings again. Watanabe again. Watanabe. There's nothing for me where you are. This place is all I have. I found where I belong. The phone stops ringing. This time it stays silent. I see. So this is the liberation Shuho felt. I've thought on that podium every day for 20 years, knowing very well that what I thought never helped anyone, that I didn't help anyone. But today, I took hold of the reins of my life and abandoned all that. I looked down at the city from the veranda. The view from that observation deck was completely different. Faster than this, for starters. I remember that ceiling I looked out at together with Ren. Probably won't have such a nice time with Ren ever again. The view from the veranda is so minimized that I could reach out and grab it. I can see everyone going about their business in a way I can grasp from here. But even in this reduced scope, there's no place for me to live. And once I finish reading, I'll also lose my role here. What comes after that? There's only one answer. Shuho died in the bathroom. I grabbed the last notebook. I began reading it out aloud. Occasionally, I lose track of whether I'm saying is what I'm thinking or what's written in the diary. Shuho's ghost taking control and speaking for me. I don't even know anymore. His diary. Towards the end, it's actually calmer in tone. I'm convinced that no matter how vast the world is, there's no place in it for me. And as long as I continue trudging aimlessly in this bog, I will keep hating myself. I could keep on endlessly enumerating the things I hate about myself. All the hate I feel inside of me. The line between life and death has begun to blur. Like the boundary between waking and sleeping disappears during a doze. I see it. Death is at hand. Those last words weren't a message to anyone. Once you pull yourself out of this narrow, pointless world, you can't go back. Everything but me fits perfectly in the picture, and the world will soon move on, as if I was never there at all. There's nothing left for me but death. No loneliness or fear. I simply realize my true place at last, and I'm going where I should have always been. Those were Shuho's last words. I close the notebook and get up. Wonder why? Maybe because I know what happened here. The air hangs heavy in the dim bathroom. It clings to me like a viscous, dense substance. But this is where Shuho died. Will I die here too? I look at the bathtub. That's the only spot in the bathroom that looks eerily clean. There are no traces of blood. It looks almost new. Regardless of his intentions, Shuho's death was announced as a simple turn of destiny. Oops. And looking at the tub, I can almost believe it. But it wasn't so. I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted his traces to be erased. I'm sure he would have wanted the proof of his death to remain. He didn't want his death to be clean, but more tragic, more miserable. He wanted everyone to hear his screams of agony. That's how he wanted to go. I step into the bathtub and lie down. The hard, cold surface envelopes me. I look up at the ceiling. Shuho probably slit his wrists. Rin said the blood had turned black like a stain when she found him. What did he use? A kitchen knife? A box cutter? I should have one of those in my bag. Suddenly a foul stench hits my nose. It's my own smell. It reminds me that I'm here. I see. That seems worthwhile enough to get away from this infernal stench. The shower head is facing my way. I raise myself and pull down the shower lever. A small stream of water pours down onto me with force. The cold water washes over me, leaving me breathless for a moment. For a brief moment, I feel like life has stopped, but it soon comes back to me. The soaked shirt sticks to my skin, the same one I wore when walking around Sakuragucho with Rin. I haven't changed clothes since then. Not so bad to have my body temperature washed away by the icy water. How long can my body fight against the cold of the water? I feel like I could waste away in a few hours, or continue suffering for a couple days. But this cold steam is definitely shaving down my time. It's leading me to death, slowly but surely. Being led to eternal sleep by something familiar like water might not be so bad. The water begins pooling at the bottom of the bathtub. I close my eyes. Only the sound of running water reaches my ears. I had a boring life. I believe so from the bottom of my heart. My life was no story. I love stories, but they never loved me back. But my last few days were fun. I managed to get close to Shuho. I was able to talk with Rin. At the very least, I was able to understand something no one else ever did. Shuho's death. I was able to sympathize with the man. It was fun. I felt like I became the protagonist of my own little story. Yeah, this guy really has main character syndrome. The time is up. I gotta turn the last page. It's enough. I'm tired. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to hurt Rin ever again. Going back to the life I had before, this is too much. I can't return to that self. I want to end it up. I want to end it here, on my own terms. If I let this chance to die that Shu has given me pass me by, I'll default back to that excuse of a life. I lost Rin, my wife, my house, my job. I'll just be hovering between life and death, a walking corpse, watching the days pass me by. And a few decades later, I'll die alone in a ditch somewhere. No one will miss me. Would it be any different from me taking initiative and ending it all on my own terms? No. There's no difference. I know that better than anyone. I raise my head and take the water face on. Closing my eyes, I simply listen to it gushing down. I'm beginning to tremble from the cold. My teeth are clattering. Now, I'm just waiting for that like Shuho did. A weird noise reaches my ears besides the water. I slowly open my eyes. The water mercilessly assaults them. The water seeping through the tiny gap between my eyelids and eyeball. My phone vibrates in my pocket twice. I stare up at the ceiling in a daze. I blink again and again. My phone vibrates yet again. I reach for it in my pocket and take a look. Messages from Rin. Photo has been sent. That's what it says on the display. Why is this phone shaking? Because my hand is shaking. I can hear Shuo's voice in my head. Don't look. Don't listen to her. Don't let a once-in-a-lifetime death get away from you. Don't live. I hold onto my phone with quivering hands. I feel like I'm standing on the edge between life and death. I turn off this phone and close my eyes. If I turn off this phone and close my eyes, to never open them again. I can be in debt with Hata no Shuho. We may have been completely different in life, but we can be together in death. It's better for Rin if I'm not around. I can't stand how pure and sweet she is. Let me die, Rin. Please. Let me rest. I don't have the energy to endure this pain anymore. My heart's already broken in half. The moment I yell at you and dirty your soul, I did something to you that can't be taken back. Let me go away. Please. Don't make me keep piling on regrets. I can hear my breath growing shallow. My internal organs are feeling the pressure, and my blood circulation is slowly grinding to a halt. It looks like I'm finally shuffling off this mortal coil. The water is steadily stealing my temperature. People can die this easily? I can feel myself drifting out of consciousness. This darkness. I can see glimpses of it. It's that. I realize instinctively. As I drift away, a ringing in my ears grows louder. Eventually the sound grows so intense that I can't even hear the water. But then, the sound shifts and coats me, like melting metal taking form around me.
這い上がるんです。死の淵から。先生、 て先生。
How many points? The sentence is like a ray of sunlight, penetrating my hazy consciousness. It bounces off the shimmering surface of water beneath my bowed head. It's the display of my phone. How many points? Rin's message is reflected perfectly. She's asking me for something. I can't tell if I'm delirious or if this is really happening. My arm feels stiff and heavy. As soon as I try to move it, my numb fingers shiver in response. But I manage. With quivering fingers, I swipe the screen. I open the message Rin sent me. It's a picture of tree-filleted fish. I stared at it in disbelief. How many points? What she wrote. The image of her working hard in the kitchen comes to mind. Her clumsily handling the knife and cleaning the fish. She still wants me? The image of her eating all alone in the cafeteria flashes through my mind. Her figure looking out the classroom's window. Even though I hurt her, I can picture her stubbornly trying to cling to me. The image is burned into my eyelids. Rin. I mutter her name time and time again. In time, my mutters drown out the sound of water. I start speaking louder and louder. Why? Why am I calling her name so strongly? The day when I forced myself on my wife, the only person I was thinking about was Rin. I despaired at the thought that it wouldn't go away. Now, standing on the brink of death, with my sight and hearing all gone, but what remains is Rin's image. Her memories growing bigger and clearer in my mind. My feet are clattering. A groan escapes my mouth. Can I even die? I'm not needed by anyone. I hurt those I come close to. I already lost all semblance of normal life. Life is worthless. I know that better than anyone. Am I scared? Does that scare me so? My voice quivers. I went all the way up to the edge, and I brush against Dad's cold embrace. Shit. I thought I was serious about this. I thought that for once I would do something with my free will. I thought I could follow in Shiho's footsteps. I can't die. I can't. I feel something wet and warm run down my cheeks. It's tears. They run down my frozen cheeks and reach my lips. In the end, Shuho and I are different. While he became a great writer, I became a sad and useless middle-aged man, where he decided to die and went through it. I chose death, yet I'll end up crawling out of this bathroom. But Rin. I call her name with as much force as I can muster. I clench my teeth and squeeze her name out like a mantra. Not yet. Not yet. I still have something I need you to know. I need to tell you. This miserable, ugly, and helpless mess that I've become. This useless piece of trash that can even die. Just thinking of you. Remembering your voice. For this, I would cling to life like the leech I am. Because I want you to know. Even if I hurt you once, I don't want to die. With my trembling hands, I grip the side of the bathtub. The cold stream of water pierces all the way to my brain as I slowly heave myself up. I hear her voice. I'll write it. This time I'll make it. I'll depict how weak and flawed a person I am. And you, Rin. You need to know how irreplaceable you are. How you changed my life. How you saved me. And how, despite all that, all I did was hurt you. And feel sorry for myself after. I'll write it all down for you. Something so intense that you'll never forget. You'll forget about what your parents denying your existence. So you'll know how deep my feelings for you run. I won't die until I finish writing it. I get up. I feel weak and unsteady on my feet. After slapping at my empty air countless times, I finally managed to put a hand on the shower head handle and stop the water. The drain makes a little whirlpool of freezing water. The echoing running water still remains in the room. I need to go and save Rin. I return to the studio, still soaked to my core. I rub my hands against my cold, trembling body. Slowly but surely, a flicker of heat is born and grows within. I know Shuho now. I have an infinitely deeper understanding of him compared to before I came to this studio. But what I can do for Rin right now is not depict Shuho. The hurtful words I shouted at her come back to me like a boomerang. What happened between her and her dad is hers to internalize and deal with. I can't step in it in a vain attempt to save her. Even if that's what she thinks she wants, it's not the answer. What I can do, what I can write, is that no matter what, there is someone who wants her madly. A person who would do anything to see her happy. Needs to know. He's not alone. That there's someone out there who wants her to be in this world. I can't do anything but that. We share that feeling of being at the edge of the world, left out and detached from everyone else. Sharing meals and words together. We came to understand that of one another. I know that my helplessness very well. I now realize how unstable I am. Now that I feel no connection to anything. How painful it is to live like that. And Rin feels the same way. That's why, at the very least, I need to let her know that she is wanted. While making my feelings manifest like that, why not save her? Maybe it can bring her some peace of mind. And no matter how awful my life may be, I think that if I can at least help assuage her heart, I can live on. I'm weak. Or weaker than Shuho. This is the first truth I learned about him when I stepped into this room. I'm weaker than he ever was at his lowest. More unsightly than he ever was at his lowest. And more vile than he was at his lowest. He was himself, which is more than I can say about myself. That's why I came back, taking like a leap and unable to die. I must admit it to myself. I have no choice but to accept myself. I opened my bag, I grabbed my laptop and turned it on. I create a new file and get to writing. I'm writing this just for Rin's eyes. He's the only one who ever needs to read it. I'm writing this with the sole intent of communicating it to her. I begin tapping away the keys. The tremors in my limbs haven't stopped yet, but I press on. For the first time in my life, I feel unstoppable. I love my writing more than the lines any literary genius could put together. A once-in-a-lifetime moment, when I met Shuho, all my paper-thin bravado and confidence crumpled. I got into the habit of running away. I was scared of giving it my all, not even coming close to his level. I was afraid of living, of my routine being broken, of having my weakness made apparent. That's why, when I fell in love with Rin, I tried to lie to myself again. I told myself that it was only to protect my current life, but it was a lie. My life was meaningless. My marriage was a sham. When I faced Rin, I simply realized that it was all bullshit. I wasn't protecting anything. All I ever did was pile on the years, without anything but my age to show for it. The fact that, by my 40s, I never lost anything was proof that I never even attempted to win something, to do anything with my life. And I was afraid of realizing my own deception. But I'm not afraid anymore. I have nothing left to lose, no appearances to protect. I'm immediately struck by the magnitude of time that I simply wasted. Infinite possibilities expand in front of Rin. The world is her oyster. Her future is unwritten, and her possibilities are as vast as the view we saw from that observation deck. I want to tell her that she still has the power to change her life. And that there are people in the world who want to see her blossom into her best self. I need to tell her. With that single desire, I push on my proverbial brush. How much time has passed? I forget about eating and sleeping in favor of writing. I pour my heart and soul into it. How I tried to run away from my desires after falling in love with Rin, and tried to keep up appearances. How, in a desperate attempt to fool myself, I trampled upon my wife's wishes and hurt her deeply. I write it all as it happened. My hands won't stop for a minute. With my undying feelings for Rin as the driving force, I write down all that I want to convey. By the time I come to with my writing frenzy, the clothes have dried. The thin fabric of my shirt is no longer wet. How many days has it been? I can't even tell if it's day or night. Abruptly, I realized that I'm out of things to write. For a moment, I wonder why, but I quickly realized that I simply written all there was to write. Done, I stare at the blinking cursor on my screen. My field of vision slowly widens away from the narrow screen. All the focus I had converged on writing expands into perceiving everything around me again. That little buzz I always had in my heart, that nagging feeling of wrongness that I push the back of my head. I can't feel it anymore. My heart feels like swaying, like the swaying surface of a calm sea. I'm at peace. My gaze wanders off for a moment. I think the text I wrote is longer than what I wrote for Rin before. I save the file. I think about the title for it and decide to go for Rin. I go out for the first time in what must be days. The sun is setting on the horizon. The sky's warm colors hurt my eyes. I load the file onto a USB drive and go to a combini to print it and package it up in a brown envelope. And with that in hand, I head to Rin's apartment. As I walk to her place, a bus slows down and stops near me. I see Rin alighting from the bus. I come to a stop and watch her from afar. When she happens to turn my way, she notices me immediately. Her eyes widen in surprise, and we stay like that for a moment, saying nothing.
Sensei?
Rin. We face each other for what seems like hours.
大丈夫ですか?
Huh? It looks uneasy, like she's peering down at the bottom of a deep, dark well.
なんかやつれてる.
I chuckle involuntarily. I don't doubt that I do. I haven't eaten in days. I've been writing.
書いていた?
I walk up to her and present the envelope. She looks down at it, and then up at me again. I wrote all I want you to know here. Everything I want to tell you.
私に知っていてほしいこと?
I nod. She seems like she's about to say something, but instead she stares back at me in silence. When I finished writing this, I felt something I never felt before. I try to search for the right words. She looks up straight into my eyes. I feel like this writing this saved me somehow. I get a sense of fulfillment that I never felt before from writing. And it's all thanks to you. Meeting you has changed me. I realize how miserable and weak I am. I blink several times, clearly taken aback.
先生は何を書いたんですか?
I wrote about myself. She doesn't look away from me.
自分のことを知ってほしいと思ってくれたんですか?
I nod
私
again.
に?
The more I fell for you, the more I tried to fool myself. I kept trying to suppress the feelings I was having for a student who was young enough to be my daughter. Rin silently meets my gaze. And read everything about me in there. At first, I thought that I should write about Shuha. Since you can't bring yourself to be in that studio, I thought I should learn all that Shuho was and depict it for you. But I wait for the words to float up from my soul. But that depended on how you perceive him. He's already dead. I can't tell you what to think about him. No one can. I realized that what I yelled at you for applied to me too. Suddenly her eyes began tearing up. But I still wanted to do something for you. It's the first time I felt such a strong need to do something for anyone. Even if I could depict Shuo as he was, it would still be just a pale imitation of the real person. But I can write about myself. No. The only thing I can write about is myself. What I realized. I write back at her. I wrote, because I want you to know. I want you to know that there's someone out there, one single person, who loves you with all his heart, who wants for you to be happy. And when I realized that I wanted you to know, depicting people, depicting myself, became a tool for it rather than the objective. Rin lowers her gaze and stares at the brown envelope in my hands. Maybe this is completely different from what you expected from me. Maybe I'm just saving myself here. When I say this, she raises her head again and takes a slow, deep breath. I crawled back from the edge of death, though I can't say it was as cool as it sounds. She looks at me in complete silence. She doesn't try to reach for the envelope. She simply stares at me. Stay like that for a long while. A car passes by us and travels away. We've been staring at each other for a while now. It may look strange from an outside perspective, but it seems like the most natural thing in the world to me. In time, she slowly speaks up.
もう一度言ってください。
Huh?
先生が私を愛してるって。もう一度聞かせて。
Her gaze never leaves me. I feel drawn in by her eyes, like my very soul is being sucked into her. In fact, I feel like my heart has been captured by those rose eyes. I can't escape. No. There's no need to escape. I saw a smile spreads across my face. I love you. I hear something fall to the ground. The sound of Rin's bag falling onto the sidewalk. Her eyes still lock onto mine. She reaches out and cups my cheeks. The moment I feel her warmth, I'm drawn in close to her. My field of vision is filled with her. Her bag fluttered in the wind in front of me. I felt a warmth that is not my own all over my face and lips. The tip of my nose brushes her cheek. Her soft sighs reach my ears. My heart is beating so hard it's almost fit to burst. Rin becomes my entire world. Everything I see, hear, and feel. All of it is coming from Rin. She has her eyes closed. I follow her lead and do the same. The sensation of our lips together is heightened. Hey, sorry, give me a second. She slowly breaks the kiss. A sweet smile spreads from ear to ear. Rin. Hi. She presses her index finger to my lips, sealing them. Smiles at me, picks up her bag, and takes me by the hand and leads me back to her apartment. I follow her in silence. When the door closes behind me, Rin turns around, flings her arms around my neck, and kisses me fervently. I wrap my hands around her soft waist. When she stretches out, the movement does wonderful things to her waist. What? Wonderful things to her waistline. I slide my hand over the pleasant curve and hold her tight. As I embrace her, she lets out a pleasant sigh. She says my name as our lips come close. She bashfully licks along my lips with her small tongue, lets out breaths of pure need. In response, I stick out my tongue to meet hers. She timidly kisses it like a little pecking bird. Alright, we're getting there, guys. Alright, wait, let me go back to feeling the scene. Rin. That's... She breaks the kiss, still clinging onto my neck. She tilts her head to the side in confusion. I didn't come prepared, and I need a bath. Kisses me again, sealing my lips shut. This time, she forcefully pushes her tongue into my mouth, pours every nook and cranny.
そんなのいい。今日だけ私たちの初めての日なのに何を気にしてるんですか？
Man, imagine that aroma. Wait, let me take this seriously. But she puts her hands on my head and pulls my ear closer to her mouth.
抱いて今すぐ。今抱かないと一生私を抱けないですよ。先生。
Stares into my eyes.
抱いてここで。有島先生。
Something inside of me snaps. The little thread holding my reason is in place is cut. Before she can even blink, I capture her mouth with a passionate kiss. I slide my tongue between her soft lips and taste her deeper than ever. I hug her body close to mine and push her down onto the entrance wooden floor.
ここにはあなたと私しかいない。
I know this is gonna zoom out, but I'm running out of thumbnails, guys. No, there's a lot actually, but like.
だから思いっきり抱いて私の中を先生でいっぱいにして。カイト、カイト、起きて、起きて。
Ah. Yonagi?
遊ぼう。
Again?
遊んだの昨日だよ。今日はまだ遊んでないよ。
Can't argue with that. I suppose that's how it works, huh? Aren't you hungry?
すいた。
Then why don't we eat before playing? After eating the porridge made for us by Izumo, Yonagi and I head to the recreation room. Yonagi goes over to one of the shelves and comes back with a pen, a notebook in hand.
小説。
Really? What kind of novel?
どんなのにしようかな。
I can see the gears turning in her head as she looks at the blank page with a smile playing around her lips.
ね、男の子と女の子がね、真っ白な部屋で眠ってるのね。
Okay.
女の子はね、その男の子とお話ししたくてもなかなかお話できないの。
What she's describing is our situation right now. Why? Why can't the girl talk?
だから真っ白な部屋で眠ってるからでしょ。
Huh? But the boys leaving that room too, right? Why can't they talk? Slowly shakes her head.
女の子が眠ってるのはね、もっと奥の方のもっと白い場所なの。
Wait, what? Wait, what?
部屋じゃないの、本当は。そこからはいろんな景色が見えるんだけど、見てることしかできないの。そんなお話。
Is it a sad story? Yonagi keeps staring at the notebook, deep in thought.
悲しいのは最後だけ。それまでは楽しいんだよ、ずっと。
I see.
カイトも何か書く？
Me?
うん。
I don't think I could.
そうなの？
Somehow? I don't think I've ever written before.
楽しいのに。
She says, pressing the end of the pen to her lips and jiggling her legs up and down. You're having fun? I'm glad. Yonagi?
眠くなってきた。
I look around the room. I scan for the clock, which reminds me. At least in the areas we can move freely through. There are no clocks, but I think Yonagi has been focused on playing for a long while. Wanna go to bed? Let's go. Let's go then. Can you walk? Yonagi nods, but she can't quite seem to get to her feet. I lend Yonagi a hand to help her up. Then, keeping hold of her hand, I lead her back to our room. I manage to get back to the bedroom before she passes out completely. Then, I have her lay down in her bed. But when I try to let go of her hand, she holds on. Yonagi?
カイト。
We left the still and cold bird in the hole we dug in our secret spot. This is where the bird and mommy are sleeping together. Kaito and I decided that it's not sad. Mommy and the bird are only having a peaceful sleep. But still, I can't stop the tears from coming out. Is he getting back some of his memories? Ah, when I come to, I find myself back in the white room. That was Yonagi? Oh, not his memories then, I guess. It's Yonagi's. Yonagi already seemed to be sleeping peacefully. What was that? I laid back down in bed, recalling what felt like a video feed being broadcast directly into my head. After staring at the ceiling for a while, I turned to face Yonagi. She's lying on her back, sleeping undisturbed. That was different from Yonagi's dream world. Was it a real memory from this world? I close my eyes and think, but my focus seems to dim before long. Soon my consciousness fades away completely. By the way, I realized I didn't comment about the H scene a while ago. That was great. Alright, let's continue. Over the course of the night, I made love to Rin many times. Even while taking a shower together, we sought each other, and after moving to bed, we greedily wanted more. With each round, she gained more confidence, became more assertive, and aware of what made me and her click. She spread her legs wide on top of me, ridding her slim body and moaning with pleasure. At the end of it all, I fall into a deep sleep, completely spent. I wake up to find Rin reading the manuscript next to me. I get up and leave the bedroom. Recovering the shirt I haphazardly threw to the floor of the dressing room yesterday, I retrieve a cig from its pocket. It's a little crumpled from getting wet and drying out again, but it'll do. I pop it in my mouth and go to the kitchen and light it up below the ventilation fan. A part of the paper is discolored, and the folder feels really squishy. Must have been the water. As I look up at the smoke getting sucked out by the fan, I remember Rin as she was last night. I can still hear her calling out my name. The way she straddled me with her legs open wide and looked down at me with a satisfied smile on her face. The memory's so vivid I can feel my pants getting tight already. I close my eyes and try to keep her away from my thoughts to little success. I finish smoking and turn off the fan. Returning to the bedroom, I stare at her from the doorway, silently reading the manuscript. It has only a few pages left. Did she not sleep? I got half a mind to brew some coffee. Oh, I like she's wearing the shirt. She's wearing the shirt. She raised her face from the papers.
ドリップコーヒーが残ってますよ。前買ったやつ。
I nod. I'll use that. You want some? She slowly shakes her head.
読み終わってから自分で入れる。先に飲んでてください。
Alright. She smiles at me before turning her attention back to the manuscript. I sit at the table and stare vacantly at the ceiling and walls while I drink my coffee. I stay there a while after finishing until Rin shows up holding a manuscript. All she's wearing is a t-shirt as she pads around barefoot. Memories from last night flash through my mind and I quickly look away from her. I'm not sure if she noticed or not, but she directs a suggestive smile at me and sits across the table.
やっぱり私も入れてもらおうかな。コーヒー。
Sure. No way that ambiguous wording wasn't on purpose.
入れて。
Of course. I get up and brew her some more coffee. I glance back at her as she looks out the window. On the table rests my empty mug and a manuscript. Here you go. I set the mug in front of her.
ありがとう。
She looks up at me and smiles. I sit down opposite of her and watch as she sips her coffee. She's wearing that funny Daruma bird t-shirt that I bought for her in Hakuchuumu. She puts the mug down on the table and sighs.
読んだよ。
I nod in response. I clasp the mug with both hands and she looks up at me.
すっごく良かった。
Blue's jaw from the surprise is simply staring at her.
これすっごくいい文章だと思う。さすがにこのまま本にはできないと思うけど。
I nod, still unable to say
これ
anything.
直しました。
Well, it's basically a giant love letter after all. She says, the sweetest of smiles adorning her face. In my shock, I'm unable to do much besides let my gaze swim and my mouth flap like a fish's.
どうしたの先生。
No, I just... She giggles, her eyes still set on me. I feel so uncomfortable, and yet at the same time, so happy and at peace. Even though I know I'm just dancing on the palm of her hand right now, I didn't expect praise like that from you.
嘘。あの文章をそんな無自覚に書けるわけがない。私が読んだら絶対に先生のことを好きになるってあなたには分かってたはず。そうでしょ。もしかして最初からこうなるつもりで来てた？
Not at all.
どうかな。今となっては説得力ないですよ。
I think I would have taken a shower first if that's what I was planning to do. I would have actually bought some protection while I would have actually bought some protection while I was at a company. Visibly amused, she laughs out loud.
なるほど。
I nod. She nods back cheerfully. She puts the mug on her lips and keeps sipping.
ありがとうございます。
Huh? She murmurs, looking down at the table. I notice that her tone of voice has changed.
先生がどれだけ私を愛おしく思ってくれたのか伝わってきた。きっと本当は何年も愛された後に味わえる安らぎを先生はあの文章で私に与えてくれた。生きててよかったって先生のおかげで。
She lovingly looks into my eyes as she speaks.
こんなに誰かに愛されるならもうちょっと生きててもいいかもって思えたよ。
Unable to find the words, I simply keep nodding in response.
何回抱かれるよりも深く先生の愛を感じた。抱かれるのもそれはそれでよかったけど。
Okay. She lets out a devilish giggle. I'll get in shape so I can satisfy you. She nods, a slight grin spreading across her face.
それは楽しみ。
Okay. After that, she says, takes another sip of coffee.
次は決まってるんですか？
What do you mean?
何を書くか。
Nah. I shake my head. I haven't thought about it at all. To be honest, I felt like I let everything I had ball up inside out. When I was writing, I couldn't think about anything but the words before me and you. She smiles. I haven't decided what to write, or if I'm ever gonna write it again at all.
書いた方がいいよ。絶対書いた方がいい。
She sounds so matter of fact about it.
私に伝えたい一心であんなに自分の感情を精緻に書けるなら書けるよ。何でも私個人に向けたものじゃなくて大衆に近いところに向けたメッセージを見つけられれば今度はたくさんの人に強く訴えかけるものが書ける。
But I don't have a message that would interest the general public like you say.
嘘。不満がいっぱいあるでしょ。書いてあったけどここに。
She points to the manuscript.
まだまだ読みたい先生の書いたもの。だから書いて。先生が書いてくれないと私が読めないんだもん。
I could stare at that smile all day. Okay, but she cocks her head and looks at me curiously. But next time, we gotta read each other's writing. She opens her eyes wide in surprise.
私も書くってこと？
I like that. Otherwise, I can't read your writing either.
無理。何の笑いなの？
Nothing. I just kind of think of. I stare into her eyes. She meets my gaze with her own. I think you can write. I think you should. I'm sure you could write something good. Some good stuff.
大作家の娘だから？
I shake my head. Because you're that kind of person. Your blood has nothing to do with it. She goes and gives me a small nod. I think you should. And more than that, I want to read it.
でも
You're right, I'll write. Sounds like a fair exchange to me.
書けるのかな？
I know you can. Ren seems to be deep in thought. She quirks the corners of her mouth and gives me a mischievous smile.
じゃあ私が最後まで書き切れたらご褒美をもらいます。
Really now? She nods. Well, if I can make it happen, then sure.
先生の次の作品をどこかの新人賞に応募してみて。
I stare at her in disbelief.
それなら頑張って書けそう。
Rin,
いいじゃないですか。期間は夏休み中ね。私が一作品でも書けたら、先生は自分の作品を新人賞に応募する。私と先生のひと夏の勝負。夏休みのいい思い出になりそうでしょ。決まりね。
She gives me a playful smile. You got me good, huh?
あと先生、
She gives me another one of those smug, sly looks. What?
何か来てよ。昨べのこと思い出しちゃうんだけど、その体見てると。わざとなの？
She says, dexterously raising one eyebrow at me. Oh! I cleared my throat. At the ripe old age of 45, I find myself clearing my throat after being caught with my pants down, literally. I use the washing machine in Rin's house to clean my clothes. One single button press and does all the work. Truly, we have come far as a species. After changing into my now clean clothes, I head to Shuo's studio to pick up my bag. It's still pretty early. I had lunch with Rin while I waited for my laundry to be done. Rin said that she would make dinner tonight. I think she's out shopping while I go get my stuff. Now that I think about it, it will probably be the first real meal I had in a good while. It feels strange. My feet are so light, they barely feel attached to me. I have so much to think about. I skip work without explanation. I'm now in a relationship with a student, and the woman I'm in the process of divorcing saw me locking arms with her. If I'm not careful, I might have a lot of explaining to do. The worries pile up and make me want to sigh, yet my heart feels radiant. Maybe the part of my brain that regulates anxiety is truly broken, like a junkie in the middle of this high. But there is something that backs up this peppy spring in my step. Rin herself. And while it's true that she's in my life for now, despite my obvious lack of morals, I'm a grown man. I know that her fiery passion won't last forever, but that's fine. It doesn't deter the happiness I'm feeling. As long as she lives on somewhere and she's happy in the future, I will be too. When I take my first step inside the studio, I freeze. Stunned. Was the air in this place always so stagnant? Did I really find this place comfortable? I shudder. My stench after spending all the time here, unwashed hangs like grime clinging to the wall. Intermingled with it is the scent of death. No one can stay in this place. That's what my instincts tell me. I feel the stomach churning fear of a person who unknowingly crossed a flimsy log bridge with a blindfold on, only to look back and realize how lucky he was. One wrong step and I would have been dead. Subconsciously, I recognized the danger I was in. This heavy atmosphere crushes the spirit. No amount of ventilation could save this place. I collect my laptop from the desk and throw the bag over my shoulder. Back at the entrance, I take one last look at the room. Hatano Shuho wasn't the perfect man I thought him to be, but the power of his writing was the real deal. His memories have the power to pull the reader into the same state of mind that he was in. That's a power I don't have, and I don't think I want it anymore. I don't want to make Rin feel even an ounce of the suffering I did. I want to deliver her a story of salvation, even if it's make-believe. Even if it's not to remain with her for long, a story that could, just for a moment, lighten up her heart. I don't mind being a shallow minstrel. So, Shuo's diaries, his creative materials, and reference books. I slowly look at all over, committing to memory this room that I won't ever see again. I wish we could have shared drinks when you were still around. I muttered that to the silent room and turned off the lights. On my way to the front door, my gaze wanders towards the bathroom. Through the polished glass, I can clearly see the darkness that lies within. The light engulfing darkness lies there, like a bottomless pit, spreading out into the beyond. I won't come here again. I'll give the key back to Rin. I put my shoes back on and leave Shuo's studio and lock the door behind me. My man's finally free. When I make it back to Rin's apartment building, my phone vibrates. I expect it to be a message from Rin, but I'm wrong. It's an email in my inbox. I'm unable to contain my laughter when I read it.
おかえりなさい。
When I open the door, Rin comes to greet me. Nice to be back.
荷物少ないね。
Surveying my luggage, Rin giggles to herself. I was only planning to stay the weekend.
もうとっくに夏休み始まってるけどね。
Oh really? It slipped my mind. At the time I was absent from work, what did I be called? There should have been 3 days left until the end of the semester ceremony. I did feel like I stayed in that room for longer than 3 days.
もう夏休みが始まってから1週間くらい経ってる。先生10日くらいあの部屋にずっといたんだよ。
Whoa, really? I'm speechless. He looks at me curiously. When I went back just now, I was surprised at how oppressive the air was. I can't believe I was in there for 10 whole days. Rin nods, a smile of relief forming in her face.
それが正常な感覚だと思うよ。帰ってきてくれて本当によかった。
It's thanks to you. I take the chance to pick up the key from the bag by my feet and put it on the table. He looks at it for a moment before realizing what it is. I think that, all in all, the studio had a positive effect on me. Coming into contact with Shuho's raw writing helped me convey my feelings to you. But I won't go there anymore. I can keep on living without Shuho. As long as I know you're somewhere out there, I can keep on going.
先生の隣にいるのに？
I'm happy you feel this way about me. I know that you really mean it right now. But I'm not young enough to think this will last forever. I don't want to be a burden on you. She simply stares at me in silence. Anyway, I clear my throat and return her gaze. I don't need to chase after Shuho's shadow any longer. I'll write my next work because you said you wanted to read it. I want to write it for you. I don't need a key anymore. It gives me a slow, deliberate
わ
nod.
かりました。じゃあ受け取ります。
Just know that I don't think you need to go to that studio either.
そうだね。同感です。
What do you want to do? You don't want the key. I can hold on to it. I watch her stare down at the key for a moment.
まだまだ時間がかかるとは思うけど、私も前ほど囚われていない気がする。父にもあの部屋にも。
She says, her gaze fixed on the key.
この鍵はもう先生にも私にも必要ないけど、いつかあの部屋を処分するときにまた使うだろうからしまっておきます。
She says, raising her gaze to me. I answer with a nod.
先生が荷物を取りに行っている間に私も買い物に行ってたの。どうしても食べてもらわないといけないものがあるから。
Oh, really? She quirks a smile. Could it be?
正解。
Correct. Okay. I watch from behind as Rin works in the kitchen. She's so adept with the knife now that I can scarcely believe she was so clumsy not so long ago. Whoa. How many fish have you prepared?
忘れちゃった。でもほとんど毎日食べてた。多い時はお昼と夜の2食。魚屋さんにも顔覚えられちゃった。すっごくアジが好きな女だと思われてる。
I can imagine. Rin laughs as she cuts into the first fish. Her movement is smooth and fluid as a brook. She looks back at me, her eyes full of confidence.
何点くれる？
100 definitely. You're better than me. I don't think I can score you anymore.
やったー。
She has the sweetest of smiles on her face. You really hate losing, huh? Rin reaches out for the second fish, cleans off the scales and starts filleting it.
あんな目で先生のことを見る人に絶対負けたくなかったの。
Rin says, just as she cuts the head off the fish. I stare at it for a moment. Why? She looks back at me. I see a shade of uneasiness tinge her expression.
なぜ？
I said some horrible things to you that day. I was completely out of line and it hurt you. I thought our relationship was over that day. But you. She shifts her attention back to the fish, slices its belly open and washes away the
悲
innards.
しかったよ、あの日は。でも先生の言っていることも理解できたし、先生とあの元奥さんが。
Her knife glides across the fish's back, opening the way to its insides without a sound.
私の知らない2人の時間を過ごした事実はどうやっても覆せないから、今から張り合えることでは余計負けたくなかったの。それがどんなつまらないことであっても。
She finishes filleting the second fish.
歪んでるでしょ、私。
She looks back at me. Her smile defiant and confident.
先生に負けないくらい歪んでて相性抜群の女だと思わない？でしょ？
An odd response. Somehow, I feel as though I'm always nodding along with her. The fish Rin prepared are clean well and have a perfect texture. Nothing less than absolutely delicious. Really good. I'm amazed by what you can push yourself to achieve just because you don't want to lose.
でも返信がなくて本当に心配した。
Oh, sorry about that. For not answering and for yelling at you like that. I'm really sorry.
いいよ。
Her gentle smile makes me feel like things are gonna be alright.
先生も同じくらい傷ついていたのはあの文章に書いてあったし、先生は帰ってきてくれたから。あの時写真を送った時浴室にいたんでしょ？
Oh yeah, I can imagine he literally wrote everything. He literally even wrote that scene. I nod. I wrote everything in the manuscript that Rin read, even what happened in that bathroom.
先生がまさに死のうとしていた時に私のメッセージが届いたんでしょ？早すぎても遅すぎてもきっと私たちは今の関係になれなかった。
Rin trails off.
ずっと空回りしてた私と先生のお互いの歯車があの時初めて噛み合ったんだよ。
You may be right. Our eyes meet. That's a beautiful thought. I'll remember that. He blinks slowly and
で
nods.
も、これから考えること山積みですよね。
I let out a tired chuckle.
学校は大丈夫なんですか？
I think they'll let the whole being absent from work without permission let things slide if I grovel a little. But putting the moves on a student, that's a whole different matter. She squints her eyes a little astounded.
当たり前でしょ。それは誰にも言わなくていい。
I remember the first day I was absent. Watanabe was the one who called. I need to get in touch with him later. No. Wait, he's probably in Yokoshima right now. Maybe it would be a bad idea to call him about work in the middle of his vacation. My eyes wander about as I think, but they settle on Rin.
離婚はもう成立したんですか？
She avoids my gaze. We're still in negotiations, but it's proceeding. I actually got an email from my ex-wife's lawyer just now. Her expression goes from relieved to anxious in a moment.
さっきどんな内容だったの？あ、その聞いてよければだけど。
It's about the house we had together. It'll become her property. It'll become her property. I was notified that I had to vacate it before the month is over.
どうしてあの時私が奥さんの前であんなことしたからですか？
I slowly shake my head. It's got nothing to do with it. From the very start, I decided I was willing to let them take care of the division of the property as they saw fit. It happened because of me, just like I wrote. Rin nods anxiously. Kyoko may have seen what Rin did as a sign of me being unfaithful. Perhaps she started feeling that there was no need to have mercy on me if we both were cheating on each other. Whatever the case may be, this is all conjecture. I'll just make Rin feel guilty if I mention any of it. She stands up and walks to the bedroom. I can faintly hear her rummaging around on the other side of the wall. After a moment, she comes back and sits down again. And then, she places a key on the table. Again? But this isn't the key to Shua's studio. It's...
この部屋の鍵使って。
Rin. I don't think that's... She shakes her head vehemently.
今さら何を気にしてるの？私を楽にさせるためだと思って受け取って。じゃないと私毎日あの日のこと思い出しちゃうから。
Should I take this as permission to come and go wherever I want? She slowly shakes her head.
ここに住んでほしいって意味。
She then turns her gaze down to the table. Rin, that's...
次の場所が決まるまでの間でもいい。そんなに重く考えないでいいから。ホテル暮らしはお金がかかるし野宿するよりはいいでしょ。
I stare at her for a while. Man, I'm a failure as a teacher, huh? I say, shaking my head in defeat. I'll look for a place on my own. Though, I can't sell in the house that she will left for you. A smile comes back to her face.
じゃあ夏休みの間だけ2人で小説を書く間の共同生活それでどうですか
I laugh at myself. We humans don't change that easily, huh? I'm more and more convinced of this. I took her virginity, though thoroughly made love to her for a whole night. And I'm still worried about what people might think. I mean, you have the right. I mean, you really have to worry about that. And if I keep trying to appease some imaginary ethical boogeyman at this point, all I'll do is make her feel lonely. A nod in acceptance of Rin's proposal. All right, it'll be our very own writing camp. And so the odd pair started living together. I went back home, packed up the minimal necessities, and brought them back to Rin's house. The summer days roll by as we read books and take walks together. After she makes dinner, I wash the dishes, brew coffee for us. We drink coffee and work on our manuscripts before heading to bed and getting on with more pleasurable activities. That's the daily routine we got ourselves into as of late. We didn't feel like going out today, so instead we're working on our laptops side by side. Rin's manuscript isn't going so smoothly. I sneak a glance at her. She's looking down the screen, rubbing her temples in frustration.
先生
Yes? I turn to her and wait for her to continue. Her eyes stay glued to the display.
小説ってどうすれば書けるの
If I knew that, I'll be rich already. She raises her face and looks up at me.
先生は書けてるじゃないですか
I shake my head.
書いたじゃん
I wrote something, sure, but that was more a letter than a novel. I'm no good at novels. Last time I tried to write, someone told me I couldn't depict people. Rin shrinks back, realization dawning on her face. I wish I knew how to write a novel.
あんな偉そうなこと言うんじゃなかった
She staggers at me.
なんで笑うの
Nothing. Can't wait to read what you'll come up with.
なんでそんなに意地悪なのやめてよあんなこと言った手前下手なもの書けないからこうなってるんでしょ教師のくせに出来の悪い子ほど可愛いんじゃなかったの
You're an honor student. No need to treat you with kitty gloves.
本当に意地悪
I laugh again. You read lots of books. For a start, how about you try writing something you'd like to read?
でもこれは先生も読むものだし
So, I want to know what kind of things you like to read.
うん
Well, I suppose I can hardly talk. If that kind of vague advice helped, I would have written my first novel long ago. She nods.
本か私どんな本読んできたっけ読んでるつもりになってるだけで全然頭に入ってなかったのかな
How about we go to the bookstore? Going out for a walk is good when you're having a little writer's block. And looking at the bookshelves filled with different books, your own can be fun. To fill it with different books to your own can be fun.
そうだね
We decide to hit up our usual bookstore. It's a 20-minute bus ride in the opposite direction from campus. There's basically no one that could recognize us here. We can't go around being too conspicuous in the areas around campus. Remember, we're writing for fun first and foremost. Don't overthink it too much. I turn to her as we walk down the sidewalk, and she giggles. What is it?
似たようなこと私も先生に言ったよね
Oh yeah. The memory brings another bout of laughter. And you were right. Just write whatever comes to you. Don't worry too much. If you want to sing, then you start by humming. Especially for people with your personality type.
そうですね
Just like today, we spent many a summer afternoon in the bookstore. We go our separate ways at the entrance and wander around looking at whatever takes our fancy. If either of us feels like going back, we reunite and go home. And if we find a book that we really want to keep reading, we buy it together. Today, each of us does their personal search. Rin focuses on How to write a novel section of a shelf. I keep an eye on her from a distance. I didn't think she'd struggle with creating something to this extent. I'm seeing another side to her. Can be very mature, but also very young in some aspects. Those extremes live in balance inside of her. Not having anything specific in mind, I eye the literature section. In the foreign literature section, there are new books by writers that have been active since I was a student. Now that's dedication. For them, writing for an audience must be some kind of second nature. Even now, they still manage to write interesting stories, and many of their works have been adapted to visual mediums. Their books fly off the shelves like shuos, but the difference between a person who is worn down by writing and one who grows with experience only becomes more marked with time. I move on to the section for new Japanese books. There I spy a familiar name. There are 2 stacks of different books by the same author. One of them has a sticker that says, over 100,000 copies sold, the new Hata no Shuho. I take a look at the cover. It was the Shuho's name that I spotted, but the one of the actual author. The name of that young writer was talking at the event back then. One of the books is published by the company Shoko works for. I hate how they have similar names, okay? The other one is from a major publisher. The one with an impressive sticker is from the big publisher. I pick up the books and take a look at the holophones. The one from the big publisher is at a 6th edition, and the one Shoko was in charge of was the 1st edition. Considering how big a print run for a new author usually is, there's a huge magnitude of difference between them. I idly stare at the cover of the work edited by Shoko.
Sensei?
I turn back to see Rin looking at the book beside me.
どうしたの?
Nothing. Her gaze stops at the sticker on the book, and she seems to realize something when she reads the name of the author under the
ど
cover.
っちが元奥さんの?
This one. Rin takes the book from my hand and reaches out for the one that's still laying on the shelf.
買ってあげる。
You don't need to.
私のお金じゃなくて、畑野修法の印税で。再来なんでしょ？畑野修法の。読んでみようよ。興味ある。自分のお金を払うほどじゃないけど。
Think of this as research. Rin takes the books to the register with a slightly intimidating smile that doesn't leave any room for rebuttal. You know she's kind of annoyed. Kind of. We sit on the park bench near the bookstore and get to reading. First I read the book my ex-wife edited. Even ignoring the fact they're a commercially published author, this person is up and leagues ahead of me. There's not much to say about the story itself. It's the kind of story I've read before, in a style I've seen somewhere else. That's all. The publisher deemed it had commercial value and pushed it out. You could say he's doing his job as a novelist well enough. After reading the first 50 or so pages, Rin and I exchanged books. The work that had apparently sold 100,000 copies is essentially the same as the one with Yoko's editing. It's interesting how he managed to sell so many copies just with the backing of a big publisher. Could it be PR? Maybe the title for this one was more attention-grabbing. Again, I read the first 50 pages of the book, then close it.
どうだった?
And take a glance at the cover. I guess it's fine.
この人なんでしょ? 元奥さんの相手。
Probably.
私、先生の書く文章の方が好きだよ。
I raise my head and look up at her. Thanks, that means a lot. But he's a professional novelist, and I'm not. I don't have a desire to be one either. If we use commercial value as a metric for how successful your writing is, I'm completely beaten by him. At least that's what I think. She's staring straight at me. She doesn't nod or shake her head. The book my ex-wife edited, I don't know if it sold well or not, but on some level, this writer must have responded to what my ex-wife wanted with his work. Wait, sorry. They probably learned to trust each other by working together, and that brought them closer together. Like we never were, I remind myself. The kitchen of what used to be our house was almost untouched. Like no people ever lived in that house. A slight frown touches her lips. No one cooked there. It was just a place for me to brew coffee and smoke. I always felt guilty for never meeting my wife's expectations, so I never complained or asked anything of her. I think What I really wanted us to lead a happy life like everyone else. But when I realized my life was going nowhere and I wasn't happy, I just suppressed those feelings. I stopped there.
元奥さんの期待を裏切っていたから？
Facing her, I nod. Then I flip through the book's pages. I feel sad reading this. How could I have been so stupid for so many years? If I could have risen to meet her expectations like this, maybe I could have actually made it. I suppose that in the end, our marriage didn't amount to much more than the union of a failed writer and an editor with no talent. But I raise my head and look into Rin's eyes. That is in the past now. What happened between me and my ex-wife? It's just that. Now I'm with you, and I'm happy with the time we have. I got no regrets. We stay silent for a moment, with only the sound of cicadas in the background. I gaze idly out at the people passing by our bench. Eventually, Rin breaks the silence.
先生、
I turn my back to
買い
her.
物して帰ろうか。
Shopping? Do not.
夕飯の材料。
Oh, right. We buy the ingredients for dinner at a small supermarket on the way to the bus stop. As we step out the store, I start to head towards the shop, towards the stop. Rin tugs on my sleeve. Huh?
そっちじゃなくて、
She looks up at me, an innocent smile on her face.
先生の家に帰るの。方向逆でしょ？
Wait, I'll be right back. Let me grab some water. Alright, I'm back. Let's go. My house?
通夜の日に先生が降りたバス停から歩くんでしょ？
Yeah, but...
その綺麗なキッチンで私が先生の夕飯作ってあげる。
Damn, man! Damn, man! Holy shit! She's trying to... She's trying to rewrite things, man. Oh, rewrite. We'll do that tomorrow.
今誰もいないでしょ？
Yeah, but next month, it'll become Shoko's property. Already got the official notice.
今月は先生の家なんでしょ？先生の家のキッチンが新築同然に綺麗なら私に使わせてよ。いいでしょ？お邪魔します。へえ、綺麗。
Okay, that's an interesting comment.
天井も高い。いいですね、一軒家も開放感があって。
Come on in. It's nothing too fancy.
はい。
Oh, no, oh, okay. I also have a feeling what's going to
キ
happen.
ッチンいいですか？
That's what we're here for.
食器とかあるもの使っていい？
A nod. Go ahead. I get the feeling they're going into the trash sooner rather than later.
わかりました。
I sit at the table and stare idly at her. I never dreamed that Rin would ever cook in this kitchen. Losing my gaze, she looks back.
何見てるの？
Nothing. It just feels kind of strange. You cooking in this house?
そうだよ。それも先生の半分の長さも生きていない女の子が先生に喜んでもらいたい一心でけなげに料理してるんだよ。幸せでしょ？
It should be illegal to be this happy. Oh? Is that the police on the door?
夜は長いよ、先生。
I was about to say something. I was about to say something that is so wrong. If I said that, it could incriminate me, so never mind. It's thoughts that's going to remain in my head. Rin lines up dishes up on the table.
お米は買っても使い切れないから麺にした。
She's prepared creamy pasta with mushrooms and salmon and salad, plus bowls of clear soup. It's delicious.
片手で食べられないけど。
You know, I don't read when there's good company to share the food with.
それはよかった。
Can I dig in?
もちろん。
Thanks. I wrap a generous amount of pasta around my fork and bring it to my mouth. I can taste Ren's cooking skill improving with each day. I And I'm not too prideful to let her know.
先生が食べてくれるから。一人の時はこんなにちゃんと作ってなかった。
I'm the same way. I just ate whatever when I was on my own. I think I only started really enjoying meals after we started living together. Rin beams at me.
先生の思い描いていた食事の時間になってる？
Huh?
この家を買った時に思い描いた幸せな生活。
Yeah, it's that and much more. The food is amazing. And above all, you're with me now. It exceeds whatever I imagined when I got in this house.
まだまだ。ご飯を食べ終わったら一緒にお風呂に入って。
I knew it. I knew it. I feel something warm sliding over my thigh. Her toes is sinuously gliding their way between my legs.
その後、先生と元奥さんの寝室で思いっきり求め合うの。
Damn, she really wants to do it. She wants to override that shit. But well, I don't know. We already saw them separated, so I don't know if they originally had the same room.
濡れた体も拭かないでベッドに倒れ込んでそのまましちゃうの。
Her touch is setting my nerves on fire. I gulp in anticipation.
私、元奥さんの何倍も先生を気持ちよくしてあげるし、元奥さんの何倍も大きな声で感じてあげる。この綺麗なお家を買った時に思い描いた先生の理想を私が全部叶えてあげる。面白そうでしょ。
Slowly she withdraws her feet. Then, with that little mischievous smile of hers curling across her face, she returns to her pasta. After the meal, we wash the dishes together and put the utensils back in their place. Rin. Cocks her head and looks up at me. If you want to make my dreams come true, can we add one more thing to our schedule for tonight? She quirks the corners of her mouth into a sly smile.
いいよ。何したいの？
I throw a glance at the living room, then back at her. I want to write together. Her eyes widen in surprise. It always was a dream of mine. Spend time together like that with the person I love. She smiles sweetly and nods.
いいよ。もちろん。
Thanks. I bring my paper and pens from my room on the second floor. Rin brews us some coffee and we sit opposite each other. Okay, let's decide on a theme and try to write a short story. Something that will fit about 5 pages. Rin nods dutifully.
面白そう。
Don't worry about who's gonna read it. Just take it easy and write whatever you want. Think you can do it?
やってみる。
I nod in response, take a sip of the coffee Rin brewed, and pick up my pen. For a while, she seems deep in thought with her chin resting on the palm of her hand. But she starts writing before long. I glance at her from time to time. She's scribbling furiously. I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up with 10 pages. Looks like she's on to something. I go back to my own paper, trying to hide my smile so she doesn't get distracted. Done? Rin nods, blowing out a satisfied breath. I smile at her in response.
短いけど初めて書けた。
What did you write? She flashes a meaningful smile at me and makes that look she usually reserves for when we're bed. I have a feeling what she wrote about the next couple of things that are gonna happen in a couple hours. It'll be funny.
読みたい？
Is the sky blue?
甘めの評価にしてくれる？
My baseline will be the first evaluation you gave me.
心折れるじゃん。
I'm pulling your leg. I get it. It's not even the point here. I just want to read something you wrote. That's all. She bashfully presents me with her manuscript.
先生のも。
Oh, I'll show you mine. How about you show me yours? Gladly. I hand her my
なん
manuscript.
か楽しいねこういうの。
And Anna began reading her story. It's about a boy and a girl who had lived their entire lives on the ground, knowing nothing of the world above. One day, they encountered a little bird and started to imagine the outside world. Okay, this is related to Case Zero. Nice. Nice. It strikes me as an odd story at first. Strangely enough, I'm fascinated by it. I somehow feel like I know this story. It's not a structural resemblance to something like the Blue Bird story. I just somehow get the feeling that I'm very familiar with the world she's depicting here. Perhaps her ability to invoke a landscape is just as that impressive. The story ends with the little bird dying and the two children digging a grave for it in the ground. It reminds me of that empty birdcage in Rin's room. Perhaps the story came from her personal experiences, just like mine.
読んだ？
Interesting. I am seeing it. How the cases are now kind of attached to Case Zero. Got it. Rin's voice snaps me back to reality. Yeah, it's a strange story, a curious world you created there. However, you're writing me the scenery really vivid in my mind. It was so real I felt like I knew it from somewhere. I really like the story. Her eyes gleam brilliantly. Is this really the first time you've written a short story?
それっぽいものを書こうとしたことは前に何度か。
Figures. She raises her face to look at me. It feels like you're used to writing, and to be honest, I think you're talented. Now I'm looking forward to the end of the summer even more. Violet relief touches her face. I'm not just flattering her, and she seems to know that. Her writing truly has captivated and genuine nature to it. It makes you want to keep reading. There's nothing logical. The spark of latent talent. What I felt after reading this is a little similar to what I felt after reading Shua's story in that seminar anthology. Maybe if I read this back when I was young, I would have been blown away.
よかった。
I think you should have more confidence. The pitfall people like you tend to fall into is underestimating yourself more than you should. It happens a lot. I think you should be more assertive.
文章って相性があるでしょ。
That's right.
上手い下手よりも私の書いたものを先生が好きと言ってくれたのが嬉しい。
I'm not.
先生の話も面白かったよ。これってこの家の話？
Yeah. I wrote a story about an ordinary man who gets his dream home and lives happily. But in time, younger colleagues than him get nicer houses. Others marry younger and more beautiful brides than his. The ideal life he envisions suddenly seems so small to him. He becomes completely fascinated by a leaflet promoting a condominium he finds one day. It's a surreal little story that speaks of how society always makes us want more, even to our own detriment.
先生ってやっぱどこかシニカルですよね。
Thanks to capitalism. Anyway, I guess it's hard. Oh yeah, FOMO as well. I guess it's hard not to be when you spent your life in the shade for so long.
でもそれ持ち味だね。私この家からこんな皮肉思いつかないもん。
I guess it's one of the perks of not being that talented. I can't help feeling like I gotta push back against it all.
でも先生は今日この家を買った時の理想をはるかに超える夜を過ごすんだよ。それなのにまだ世の中にこんな皮肉言っちゃうの？
Nice point. He giggles and nods.
私が相手じゃすぐにもっといい相手が欲しくなる？
Never.
それならよかった。
As usual, I'm overwhelmed by her. Rin always knows how to take initiative between us. But I think you could maybe keep going with the story a little longer if you like. I think that's a nice thread to follow. Think you could write a second part to this?
自分の中にまだ書いてみたいものはあるかも。何より今日は書いてて楽しかった。
Me too. Suddenly, her gentle smile fades away. Feels like she's gazing at something deep inside my soul. I met her gaze with my own. Her eyes shift, and I notice she's staring at the album I tried to give her once. It's sitting on the shelf behind me. I take a good look at her. Perhaps she's thinking of that picture where my ex-wife and I are smiling together. Silent, I simply gauge her expression. Smiling at me, Rin stood up even as her crimson eyes seemed to waver.
先生？
Hmm?
やっぱりシャワーは後にしよう。
Later.
行こう、寝室。先生と元奥さんの。我慢できなくなってきちゃった。
Damn, son. All she had to do was look at the damn album, man.
ここがそうなんだね。
Is it just me or the volume got weaker? Maybe it's just me. Where's the configuration? Yeah, maybe it's just me. Yeah. The place that was once mine is Shoko's. By the end, it had been Shoko's, and now it was no one's. However, Shoko's personal items still remained. I gazed dimly at those belongings, which invoke only a lingering sense of abandonment.
ここで元奥さんとした？してたんだよね、昔は。
Yeah, well... Rin's voice grew fainter, as a wild jealousy seemed to grow inside her. In this room, where so much of Shoko remained, Rin grew envious. She was looking about for any signs of my past relationship with Shoko. Compared to the kitchen, this bedroom really was a far more vivid reminder of what once was, and of what I had lost.
ねえ先生、何してほしい？何でもしてあげるよ。先生のしてほしいこと。口でも手でも足でも、私の体のどの部分でも絶対先生を気持ちよくしてあげる。どこがいい？何してほしい？
Wait, let me check something. Get back.
言ってごらんよ、先生。
Your mouth. Alright, it's happening. When I said that, Rin gave me a slight smile.
いいよ。じゃあ、
Well, looks like I'm gonna cut this again. Holy shit.
そこに座って、先生。
She made me sit down on the bed. Then she knelt down, her face between my legs. Her upper body, meanwhile, was exposed, laid bare to be. Alright, I'll see you guys in a while.
世間の目なんて、社会の常識なんて全部かなぐり捨てて乱れたい。ねえ先生、先生も心の底ではそう思ってるんだよね。
Having said that, Rin began stroking the bulge of my crotch, right through the fabric of my trousers.
本能のままこの凶暴な欲望を解き放ちたいって、私たちが初めてした時みたいに。
I understand that Rin had seen right through me. Having slept with Rin, already, there was nothing I could hide from her. I gulped.
大丈夫だよ。今日は私がしてあげるから。私が先生を幸せにしてあげる。全身の力を抜いて、私に委ねて。
Rin. The pulse went The pulse went up. Perhaps this racing anguish was just evidence of how nervous I am. The bed, after all, is one I haven't even sat on for several years now. There is reality of being with a young girl named Rin in a bedroom that once belonged to a husband and wife. I couldn't help but feel nervous at the sheer sense of immorality.
先生、かわいいね。いつもと違って余裕がない顔してる。気持ちよくて余裕がないのとも違う。切羽詰まっているみたいな必死な顔。
Perhaps. As Rin looked up at me, her eyes were shining, blazing even with an indescribable heat.
先生、まだ大きくなりきってないよね。私の下着姿、もう見慣れた？
I shook my head. I'm fascinated with your body. I'm still getting used to it, unfortunately. Rin was so exceedingly beautiful that it made me almost want to avert my eyes. Before I could say anything, though, Rin once touched me through my trousers, caressing my penis. Under her ministrations? What the fuck? My penis was still only in the midst of getting it hard. Perhaps I really am unconsciously nervous in this room. Rin rubbed her hands back and forth across my crotch, as if to check it. A moment passed and another. Rin rubbed it, with a smooth, constant pace, and still my members showed no response.
柔らかいと服の上からじゃ形が分かりづらいね。硬くなってればくっきり形が出るのに。
She gave a bold laugh, but never once let up in stroking me. Gradually, Rin started using her fingers to massage my penis as well. Her pinky, her ring finger, and her middle finger. Alternating between them, Rin rubbed me with each in turn, easing my member to stiffness. Her movement stimulated my penis in my most sensitive spots.
ここをさすられるのはどう？少しずつ形がくっきりしてきた。
I could feel the blood rushing to my lower body. Pulsing, my blood rushed to one point in particular. And the more my penis hardened against my trousers, the more distinct shape formed under the fabric, and the easier time Rin had stroking it. The movement of her hands followed the outline of my penis, helping to stimulate me with more pleasure.
ほら、もうはっきりわかるよ。ここが付け根で、裏の筋で段差。先っぽのところは指一本じゃ全然足りない。
Rin.
ん？
My breathing was getting rough. That much I noticed. And yet, even as she looked up to meet my eyes, Rin didn't cease her loving caress. That was enough to stir something inside me. And though she was kneeling uncomfortably, Rin seemed relaxed. And every time a breath escaped through her smiling lips, I could feel my penis twitch, hardening even further.
余裕がなくなってきた先生を見るのも結構いいね。こうやって触られてるだけなのに汗もにじんできてる。ここ閉じ込められて苦しそう。
It is. So please. However, she ignored my breathless request. Rin neither stopped nor slowed down, but rather continued despite my protests. I was left confused. My frustration began to grow.
ほら、ほら、くっきりわかるね、先生の。ちゃんと大きくなった。ねえ、先生。先生はこれをどうしてほしいの？
It was rather gentle so far, but now bold action followed her teasing question. Teasing my member through my trousers, her hand molded around it. Inadvertently, I jerked my hips up in response. The springiness of the bed wasn't helping here.
動いた。我慢できなくなっちゃったの？そんな先生も好きだよ、私は。
Rin, I beg of you. Please, just... She spoke of love, but this sadistic love that she was showing wasn't what I associated with the girl I had fallen for. The girl that had stolen my heart was the sort to provoke me so mercilessly. Was it the sort to arouse yet deny me?
なら先生、もっと先生が求めてくれる声を聞きたい。
Damn son, I'm sweating here.
いつ、どこで、誰が誰に何をしてほしいのか、先生なんだからはっきり教えて。
So unlike you to act like this.
ならしてあげないよ。
She spoke coldly, stopping her caress and withdrawing her hand. Stopping like that let me feeling vexed. Rin, however, was all smiles as she looked up at me.
先生、続けてほしいなら、さっき言った通りにして。先生の底が私を求めてるのは分かってるから。
I want you to touch me down there. Right here. Right now. With your mouth.
君、
You, Rin.
ちゃんと言えた先生にはご褒美してあげるよ。先生の望んだ通りに。だって私は先生の恋人だもん。
With that, Rin leaned forward slightly towards me. A mischievous smile forming across her face. She reached for my penis once more. Under the fabric of my pants, my stiff penis stood erect. With expert hands, Rin removed my belt. Somehow, without me realizing it, Rin had grown skilled at divesting me of my clothes.
先生、先っぽから何か出てるよ。このシミは何？
With innocent delight, Rin pointed out what was happening to my body. And clearly my fluids were leaking out of my penis, which Rin had gently caressed so long and ceaselessly.
これも脱がすね。
Rin pulled out my underwear and gazed at my bare penis with At the end of August, nearing the end of summer break, I get in contact with Watanabe. I get a response from him right away. I tell him I'd like to talk. He made time for me immediately, and we're supposed to meet in this cafe today. I'm first to arrive. I sit in the smoking area, and Watanabe shows up by the time I finish my second cig. Long time no see.
久しぶりだなじゃないのよ。どうしたのよ終業式。サボったでしょ。
I laugh in response. I guess I did. I never skip a class even when I was a
そ
student.
れがなんで45歳にもなって突然サボろうなんて気になったのよ。
A lot of stuff happened, I suppose.
だろうね。
I stare at Watanabe.
まあこうなるんじゃないかって気はしてたからそんなに驚かなかったよ。
I nod and spread the divorce papers on the table. So far, they only have my signature on them.
保証人ってとこに名前書いてハンコ押せばいいの？
Apparently.
け
Watanabe plucks a ballpoint pen from his bag and proceeds to carefully write and sign his name. It was news to me that you need a third party to sign divorce papers. I was planning on telling him about the divorce anyway, after things calmed down, so I decided to ask him to be my witness. Sorry for asking you to do this out of nowhere. You're the only friend I could think of that I could even ask to help me with this.
お友人だと思われてたの俺。それは光栄だわ。
I wouldn't ask you if you weren't. I fold the now signed divorce papers, put them in my bag. With an almost uncannily opportune timing, the waiter comes to take our orders. Watanabe orders iced coffee.
で
He takes a cig out of his chest pocket, lights it up, and pops it into his mouth.
元気だったの最近は。
Yeah, I'd say so.
歯切れ悪いじゃないの。奥さんの存在が恋しくなっちゃったりした？
Not at all.
即答かよ。
Watanabe
あれ
laughs.
でしょ？保証人が必要ってことは調停とかで争ってはないってことなんでしょ？
You're pretty knowledgeable about this stuff,
一応
huh?
調べてから来たよそりゃ。まあよかったね揉めないで。離婚の理由は知らんけどさ。
Well, there was a trigger, but I don't think there was one concrete reason.
そういうもんなんだろうね。
Oops. The waiter brings his iced coffee and he begins sipping on it. How was Yakushima?
うん楽しかったよ。あごめんお土産忘れたわ。
Don't sweat
学
it.
校始まったら持ってく。
Watanabe stuffs his cigarette out in the
有
ashtray.
島先生はどっか行った？ 気
Yeah,
分転換にどっか行ってきたら？一人旅いいじゃん気楽で。なんか少しはハメ外してきたら？ずっと奥さんのために酒も我慢してきたんでしょ？
I gave him a bitter smile. Oh, I've already let my hair down plenty. So much so that I may not be fit to be a teacher anymore. I'm living in a student's home. And I'd rather not describe what we get up to every night under the covers. But I've got to keep quiet about all that, unless I want to lose the little bit of life I have left. I had my own kind of fun this summer break, I think.
そうなの？またあれ？何か書いてるの？
I'm not. A lot of stuff happened, but I think my life has gotten a lot more bearable. I'm enjoying each day now. Watanabe looks extremely surprised.
本当に良かったね離婚して。
Yeah. I paid the bill in the
あざ
end.
っす先輩。
Don't worry. And when it called you out of nowhere for this.
そういえば家はどうしてるの？別居してたわけじゃないよね。奥さんが出てったの？有島先生が出てったの？
I think I gave the house away. I gave up my right to it and left the house. I don't know if she's living there with her new man or
あ、
something.
そうなんだね。じゃあ有島先生、今は一人暮らしなんだ。こ
Yeah.
の辺なの？
Yeah, I guess. Watanabe's expression turns suspicious and he frowns.
有島先生、
What is it?
一人暮らしじゃないでしょ。相手いるでしょ。
I'm alone, I swear.
突然の敬語？嘘つくと喋り方まで変わるようにできてるの？不便そうな体ね。え、どんな人？っていうか何？有島先生にも相手いたんじゃん。
Oh no, 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 no.
奥さんが新車乗り回すタイプって話しか聞いてなかった。
Right. After thinking for a moment, I figure it's weirder to be so secretive and decide to tell him the bare bones of the situation. I have a partner. She's letting me stay with her while I find a new place.
罪に置けね
I'm taking it easy. We read books every day and write together. It's a really nice life with her.
え。そりゃ何よりだね。有島先生が幸せなのが一番よ。
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I can go drinking whenever too. So feel free to invite me on. Feel free to invite me out
そ
anytime.
れは最高だ。
Taking the bus or
電
train?
車。有島先生は？
Bus. But I can come with you to the station and catch it from there. We start walking to the station.
その相手と再婚するの？
Shake my head. I'm not thinking about that right now. I feel like we're just sharing a moment in our lives right now. I'm not young enough to fall in love blindly like that. I should find someone else that's more appropriate for her. I'll leave.
年下の人なんだね。
Yeah.
なんかすごい達観してんのね。さすが伊達にバツついてないわ。
He sure knows how to make me chuckle. Divorce wasn't all it took. Not by a long shot. It took almost killing myself and having someone read all my regret and negative thoughts about life to get me here. But that's something I can't tell even Watanabe. The whole story of the studio, Chuho's diaries, and how it ended up with me being romantically involved with Rin. As long as I keep working as a teacher, I can't tell anyone about this. At least, not until Rin has graduated.
ほいじゃ、今日は久しぶりに話せて楽しかったわ。
Same here.
前より元気そうだし、なんか若返ってて安心したよ。電話つながらなかった時は、マジで死のうとでもしてんじゃないかと思ったんだから。
Watanabe has a discerning eye. I never cease to be amazed by him. Thanks for the help. I'm living better now.
じゃあまた9月にな。
Yeah,
年下の彼女によろしく。
will do. Watanabe laughs one more time as he leaves for the ticket gate. After seeing him off, I take out my phone and open the message app. I'm heading back. I send a message and make my way to the bus stop. I have a feeling. I'm glad it happened when he wasn't around. I tried not to worry about it. But soon, there won't be any way to hide it. The scents I like have changed as of late. I used to like the smell of coffee. But now, I can hardly stand it. I like the smell of oil now, too. I feel drowsy all the time. I've never been in the best of health. I'm used to being sick from something most of the time. I'm used to irregular menstrual cycles. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Shit. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is it. But it's never been so late before. I still had an appetite. So I didn't think it was morning sickness. But I vomited a lot today. I looked it up. And the symptoms for morning sickness vary from people to person, but I have all of them. But he always uses contraception, except for the first time. Well, you know, contraception isn't 100%, so, you know. Except every day. Except the first day we did it. That was the only day he finished inside me. I love him. Probably more than he imagines. If there's anything I know to be true in my heart, it's that. But it's not the problem. I can't even imagine myself becoming a mother. I'm so scared of rejecting my child, like my parents denied my existence throughout my life. I was stupid. Maybe I wasn't ready to make love to him after all. Somewhere in my heart, I thought the only one time wouldn't hurt. No, the desire to connect with him without anything in the way won out in the end. I wanted him to love me more, to go crazy for me. It never occurred to me that I would get pregnant from my very first time. I was so dumb. Why didn't I take the morning after pill? I was foolish and ignorant. And in the end, my stupidity might end up costing my life. My hands tremble at the thought. Unconsciously, I bring my shivering hands to my stomach. I don't understand why I did that instinctively. Holding my stomach, I sit down. I want this all to be a misunderstanding on my part. A mere coincidence. Yes, it has to be. I keep telling myself that, but the trembling doesn't go away. Oh, yeah. That happens. Hey there.
おかえり。
I find Rin sitting at the table. She looks up at me and smiles. She's holding her phone in her lap. That's odd. The phone. I never see you using it usually.
そうかな。
I nod.
一応10代だから私。
I'm aware. In the kitchen, I run some water in the kettle. Want some coffee? Rin thinks for a moment, then shakes her head slowly.
大丈夫。ありがとう。渡辺先生元気だった？
Yeah, he's as fit as a fiddle. Rin wears a pleasant smile on her face. After dinner, we both sit together to write on our laptops. Ever since we wrote together that night in my old house, she's been hitting the keys at a constant pace. For a while there, she seemed to have gotten into the groove of writing, but recently I've caught her staring at her screen in silence for long stretches of time. What's up? She raises her face from the screen and looks at me. Getting writer's block again.
考えてるの。続きを。
Gotcha. You seem to have been going at a good pace so far. How much do you have left?
どうだろう。でも完成させないとね。夏休み中に。
Rin looks down blankly at her hands on the keyboard. What's it about? At my question, she raises her eyes.
考えないようにしていた相手のことかな。
I see. It seems like she's using her own experience as inspiration. Everyone's first work is more or less a projection of him or herself. Perhaps through her writing, she's looking for answers to questions she hasn't yet resolved within herself.
でももしかしたら他の話にするかも。まだ読ませられないからね。
No need to rush it. I'll wait for as long as you need.
ありがとう。
After that, she turns to her screen and hits the keys for a while. But saw soon after. Tomorrow. I'm going to see some places. Summer break's almost over.
物件。
Her voice lowers to a murmur. I answer with a simple nod. It'll be weird if I commute to work from here. There are lots of single rooms to rent. I'm not picky, so I'm sure I can find a nice enough place. Her eyes swim about the living room. I'll make sure to find somewhere near here. You can come and visit me.
ぜひ。
Oh no. I let out a huge sigh, and it seems like my soul leaves along with my breath. The moment I saw the result, my heart sank to my stomach. I simply stare in shock at the two lines.
なんてよ。
I know why, yet I still ask the empty air. If this was just me reaping what I've sown, I'll be fine. If I was the only one getting hurt, I wouldn't care. But I press my head to my forehead and feeling an imminent migraine coming. I can't have a baby. I can't be a parent.
ごめんね。
The words spill out of my mouth for some reason. I think they're directed at the life inside of me and to him. If anyone finds out that I'm pregnant with his baby, his whole life will change. He may even come to regret ever meeting me. Just like Hadana Shuho hated the woman that birthed me. He may hate me too. I'm scared. I'm sorry. I don't have the courage to be upfront with you. I'm sorry. I don't have the courage to tell you.
ごめんなさい。
Among the gynecology obstetric centers that I looked up, I found a few that don't require you to register with them. One of them was run by a female doctor. I came out of the west exit of Shinjuku Station into an office district and found the hospital after walking for a while. It was on the 5th floor of a tall building. The doctor had long hair, and her features struck me as very neat and prim. Before I could tell her I wanted an abortion, she put on an ultrasound image of my stomach on the screen. Ah, fuck. I lay there on the heart examination bed and listened distractedly as she pointed to some little white dots telling me that's the baby. I stared at the image. Unable to sort out my feelings, tears blurred my view. I was trying to erase this child from the world. I was trying to dispose of it, not even treating it as alive. I was the only one who would mourn it. Laying on the bed, tears rolled down my face. After the ultrasound, the doctor explained the procedure for issuing a pregnancy certificate. As soon as she stopped talking, I told her that I wanted an abortion. I told her that I had no parents, and that I couldn't get a consent form from the father. I asked her to book me in for an abortion as soon as possible. She nodded and informed me that it could be done as soon as tomorrow. She explained that if it's what I want, it's better to abort as soon as possible. But if I change my mind, I am free to cancel at any point, even on the day of the procedure. She asked me if I understood many times. I interjected with nods and got up from my seat after she was done explaining. She asked me if I'd like to take a copy of the sonogram. The doctor got up after me and handed me the photo. Oh, damn, man. It's just a little cluster of white dots, contrasting against the black and gray of the background. I traced my fingers over the tiny white blobs. They're so small. I would have overlooked them if it wasn't for the doctor being nice enough to mark them with her pen. This little nice whole world is me. I wonder if the woman who gave birth to me also looked at me like this. A little white dot in the sea of dark. What did she think, I wonder? Maybe she thought she could use it to entrap Hatano Shuho. Perhaps that's what she thought. But I can't even recall her voice, but she gave birth to me. The loneliness my parents forced on me has nothing to do with this baby. If I reject them, I'll become the same as my parents.
なれるのかな。
Can I be a mother to this baby? Jesus Christ, this is hitting me at a lot more levels than I expected. I'm tired of walking. My feet hurt like hell. I visited 3 real estate agents and was shown 7 apartments. It took me all damn day in the end. Now that I think about it, I haven't been out for a full day all summer long. Since I'm spending the summer together with Rin, I've been gone on a trip somewhere. God damn it, man. God damn it. Alright, sorry. So, they were pretty much the same when it came to amenities. But I never noticed before how much the thickness of the walls can change the ventilation and feeling of a room has. Given my budget, I might as well go for one of those instead of a high-rise. High-rise apartments have such low ceilings to hide all the steam beams. And I like high ceilings because they help the place feel less cramped.
そうなんだ。
They also reminded something called weekly apartments. I mean, they also recommended me something called weekly apartments. The procedure to rent one is easy. You don't need a lot of paperwork. You can just give a down payment and not to worry about annual income checks and all that. I triumphantly dump all the house hunting knowledge I acquired today on Rin while she's preparing stuff in the kitchen. She listens to all of it with a sweet smile on her face. And that was my day. How was yours? Do anything fun? Shit. You know what? I'm really pausing because this really feels so heavy, man. I'm not talking like... it's more like, you know... Alright. Let's do this.
買い物たまにはちゃんと料理しようと思って。
Oh? But you always cook proper and delicious meals.
そんなことないよ。品数も少ないし。でも今日はちょっと豪華にした。
We celebrating something?
そういうわけじゃないよ。私が今日はたくさん食べたい気分なの。
Huh? That's a surprise.
そう
A welcome surprise to be sure. She lived up to her word. A bunch of fancy looking dishes are lined up on the table today. There's a medium rare steak slices, mashed potatoes, bean soup, and a bowl of salad. Even baguettes in the butter. Whoa, this really is a feast.
でしょ。これが最後の晩餐でも悔いがないと思わない？
What? I don't like what she just said just now. Block! Rin says as she sits in front of me. That comment makes me think for a moment.
まだ私と先生の夏は続くけど。
Right. Our summer isn't over until we read each other's work.
頑張る。食べよ。
I nod and bring a spoonful of beans to my mouth. I notice Rin doesn't drink any coffee after dinner today either. I'm the only one drinking it. After we're done with dinner, we settle down to write on our laptops again. I'm currently revisiting my second draft. After all that thinking yesterday, it seems she's finally continuing her story today. Looks like... When she stops playing for a moment, I get her attention. Looks like you made up your mind.
そう？
I nod. Feel like you can write now?
うん。どうすればいいのか分かった感じがする。
That's good. She smiles at me. Summer break's almost over.
うん。
Why don't we go somewhere?
出かける？
I mean, we haven't gone out much. It feels like kind of a waste of a good vacation. If you have anywhere you'd like to go, let's do it. Our last outing was in Sakuraguchicho. And I think I'd like to replace those memories with something more fun.
そうだね。
We can leave tomorrow if you want. How about it? She thinks for a moment.
出かけるのも楽しそうだけど。
Oh man, this is where it happens, isn't it? There's a glint of sadness in her smile. Oh, shit. You have other plans? Rin stares into my eyes. Then she slowly shakes her head.
どこにも行かないよ。ずっと家にいる。魅力的な提案だけど、特別なことはしなくていいよ。今まで通り二人でゆっくり過ごしたい。
Okay, it looks like she's decided herself. Okay, it looks like she's not going for it, I guess. Alright. When is she gonna tell him though? You sure? She
だっ
nods.
て夏休みが終わったらさ、
Her gaze wanders in the space between the two of us.
夏休みが終わったら、このひと夏の毎日は全部特別な思い出になるでしょ。
I don't like what she's saying, man. Oh my god! What the hell? It's like she interpreted it as like she's going to abandon her or some shit. I don't know, man. Or, you know, something's going to happen.
だからこのままでいいよ。
I nod in response. Alright, then we stay like this. Tomorrow and the day after that. Rin is aware that the time we're sharing is going to end. And she's right that our lives will probably change as soon as the next semester starts. Right now, we're in our little great period of grace. If we're to build a truly strong bond, we must learn to coexist while also living our separate lives. Now, whether we'll be able to do that will be tested when the summer break is over. We spent the last days of August in the same manner. We read, wrote, and lived together in the same space. We went about our activities, saving each other's presence, and so those dreamlike days flew by. And now, it's the last day of August, the last day of our summer break. Here's mine.
どんなお話？
It's about a middle-aged man who decides he wants to run a marathon. The story is about little changes you can see in yourself when you put in the effort and the hope they bring. I think it's plain and simple and doesn't really stand out from the crowd. But at least I mustered up the courage and patience to write even a shoddy little piece like this. It took me long enough. I finished that last sentence with a little chuckle. If I start sooner, maybe I could have been earning my current salary from writing. Rin nods, a little smile touching her lips. I wait for her to say something. As for her, I see no laptop or papers in her hands.
私は
She's gonna reveal it.
結局書けなかった。勝負は私の負けです。
My eyes widened in surprise, but I saw you writing. I thought you had the rest of it planned out.
だけど最後までは書けなかった。今はまだ。
Oh, I see.
でもいつか完成させる。その時が来たら先生も読んでくれる？
I give her a firm, deep nod. I'd love to read it. Bounce at me. Then she turns to look at my manuscript.
私は書ききれなかったけど、先生のそれ読んでもいい？
I nod and present it to her. Of course, I wrote this for you.
嬉しい。
She reads my manuscript until night falls.
夏にぴったりの爽やかな話。この前までのものとは全然違うね。
It's kind of hard to put into words, but I suppose I didn't go as hard with this one. I just kind of let myself write naturally. It's been a long time since I had that experience.
うん、自然体な感じがした。今まで読ませてもらった中で何度も読みたくなるのはこの作品かな。
Well, I don't think there's much to get out of it from rereads. You probably won't come out thinking any different from it. Upon hearing that, Rin smiles again.
もうこの夏に思い残すことはないね。
Oh man, that line. Shit. Book. I have one. I couldn't read your story. That's one huge regret.
ごめんなさい、先生。
I laugh and she keeps on smiling.
いつか先生に読んでもらえるように頑張る。
Write at your own pace. You gotta walk if you want to run. So, I'm just repeating your words.
書いたことのない人はいつも勝手なこと言うね。
You bet. Our laughter fills the room. On the last night of our summer vacation, we make love one more time. We seek each other quietly, lovingly. Afterwards, we lie on the bed together, the room comfortably cool from the air conditioner. I fall into a deep sleep while stroking Rin's head. And that night, I have a strange dream. I dream about a girl. A beautiful girl with white hair just like Rin's. The girl lived in a room much like Shuo's studio. The little studio had a completely different atmosphere from Shuo's though. It's almost as if her will to live just exuded from every little thing. I stroke Rin's head while I stare at the slightly familiar scenery in the border between waking and sleep. Rin wakes up and rests her cheek on my chest. I had a strange dream.
夢？
A girl that looked like you was writing a novel of her own.
小説？
Yeah, I think she was writing about us.
畑野修法の部屋に似た場所で。
I shook my gaze down to her. Her upturned eyes are aimed straight at my face.
私もその夢を見たみたい。
Oh. Oh. Well, I suppose there's a first time for everything.
わかるな。小説を書いていた彼女の気持ち。
You do?
好きな人に読んでもらいたいって気持ちと、でも自分の全部を見られるのが怖いっていう気持ち、それが彼女の中でずっとせめぎ合っている。彼女にとってその小説は自分の心の動きを追体験する日記よりも生々しい物語なの。それを 愛する人に捧げるかどうか、彼女はとても悩んでいる。
What does she do in the end?
わからない。
She looks up at me.
途中で目覚めちゃった。
I give her a little nod and stroke her hair again. What would you do?
私
Would you give the story depicting yourself to the person you love? She takes a deep and silent breath. I keep on softly stroking her hair.
もしも書けたらきっと読んでもらうと思う。
I see. When that happens, will the person she loves be me? Or someone not even she knows yet? Whichever it ends up being is fine by me, as long as she's happy. As I stroke her hair and sort through my thoughts, the sweet embrace of sleep wraps around us both. I'll go first. Rin nods. It's still really early to go, but we can't arrive on campus together. There's some cafes that open early in the station. I'll go kill some time in one of them. I rented a weekly apartment near the academy and have decided to commute from there to work until I find a more permanent place. I had a feeling that if I didn't find the place by the time the new term started, I would end up settling down in Rin's place for good. Can I come over during the weekends? Rin nods and smiles and nods. I'm feeling really sad. I had the best summer in my life thanks to you. If I hadn't met you, Rin waits for me to continue, looking slightly surprised. I would have just kept spending my summers doing nothing with my life. Thinking of that really scares me. I'm so glad we met. The corner of her mouth turns up into a small, relieved smile.
やめてよ。これでお別れみたいになっちゃう。
I don't know why there's that bad foreboding feeling. Can you tell how hard I'm trying to stall for time? I don't want our summer together to end. That's how much I love living together.
私もです。
Thank you for everything.
はい。
See you. Rin nods. With painful reluctance, I turn my back on Rin's home and close the door on my way out. The moment the door closes, tears begin flooding down my face with the intensity of a broken dam. My legs simply give out beneath me and I sink down onto the floor. Why am I like this? Why couldn't I believe in him? Why couldn't I let myself depend on him? In the end, I'm not qualified to become anyone's mother. I could have put my ego aside in front of him. I don't want to take away his life. I don't want to become a shackle on him. I'm scared. The thought of him hating me is too much. His heart healed. He's stronger now. He'll be fine without me. I will never forget the summer we shared. Oh man. I don't like this. That's why. Please. Forget about me. I'll remember for the both of us, so please forget. I changed into a dress that I bought in secret and left the house with little time to spare. I walked through the city after waves of students heading to school have died down. Over the past summer, I've grown to like this city a little more. The cafe where I had my first meal with Arishima Sensei, and the fishmonger where the owner remembers my face. They are part of this city. I don't know why I hadn't noticed it before. It was a nice town. This place. I'm glad I finally realized that. The days I spent with him made me realize that I was still a young child, no matter how far I reach. No. The more I overreach, the more my childishness stood out. All my daily necessities fit into this small carrying case. I wonder if this is the weight of my life to date. With these thoughts in mind, I pulled my light carry-on case and headed for the station. I walked to the end of the platform, which was sparsely populated. Across the railroad tracks over the fence, I can see the city of Umemi, where I have lived until today. I stare blankly at the city and the flow of people walking through it. At that moment, I clearly felt that I was no longer a resident of that city. There were people I didn't know, walking in a city where I didn't exist. There's no place for me in the city anymore. It was my choice. I didn't feel lonely. From a distance, I could hear the sound of a train running. It was the sound of a train carrying me and my child to the next city. Wait. Oops. I pull my hand over my stomach. I smile and tears running down my face. My hands are warm. The one thing giving me peace is the child growing inside of me. I don't want to throw away my life like my father did. I don't want to be a parent like that. My parents left me unbearable loneliness and unspent money. With this whelp I could never spend in one lifetime or next. So, regardless of whether I wanted it or not, I had to live with it. I can use it to protect this baby. I made up my mind. I'll raise this baby myself. I feel happy and overcome with a feeling that I can only assume as motherhood enveloping me. It makes me feel like I can become whole. I'm not alone anymore. Having something to protect, I find meaning in life for the first time. Yes, thanks to him. He saved me. Having this baby inside of me made me stronger.
頑張るからね。
I muttered to myself, gently stroking my stomach. The train comes to the platform, blocking the view of the city I'm leaving. The door slides open. I stop for a moment and shake my head. And then, I step into the train. Fuck me, man. When I wake up, there are tears moistening my eyes. I scoop them up with my fingers and stare vacantly at them. The end of Yonagi's dream. When that time comes, I will know. That's what Izuma said. I see now. The stories come to an end when Yonagi and I separated. I raise myself up and turn to Yonagi, she's also shedding silent tears with her closed eyes.
おはようございます。
おはよ
この夢におけるヨナギのマッピングが完了しました。再度ヨナギに感覚信号を送信する必要があります。残りの夢はあと2つ。
My memories remain this time.
はい。ただヨナギの脳に行う処理は一度別の夢のデータに基づいたものに切り替わります。これはこの計画の安全性を高め、成果を最大化するために必要なことです。
Which means
ヨナギの回復は一旦対抗しているように見えますが、それは見かけだけの変化です。最後は3つの夢を見ている時の活性化部分を統合する。
I see. And that's the safest and most precise way to save Yonagi. Or at least that's what someone has judged to be the case.
その通りです。
I feel a bitter smile form on my face. I have a pretty good idea of who that someone is by now.
次の夢を選んでください。
Okay. Alright, I'll end it here. I'll continue the story on Sunday. Tomorrow will be a full-blown rewrite. What did I think about case 1? Ooh, shit. I know there's an epilogue, but I have to go through the 2 cases, then case 0 moves along, then fuck. I don't know, but I'm starting to see the connections to case 0 and fuck, that was a good one. Case 0 was a good case 1 was a really good one. I'll do case 2 next, just to like round out like the ordering of things. And well, personally, I do prefer doing case 2 than case 3. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe case 3 gets better. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's rewrite and on Sunday for the continuation of this VN. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys. Ciao.